As we prepare ourselves for sacred service today, we invite you in this moment to gather in acknowledgement of the God of your acceptance and understanding and find that space of peace within you. Gently close your eyes from top to bottom, sit a little bit taller in the seats, and just begin to deeply breathe, inhaling and exhaling, consciously slowing the breath down, relaxing the circulatory system, relaxing the thoughts that are racing inside our heads, coming to a place of stillness, non-judgment, embracing, accepting, being. Inhaling slowly, pausing ever so gently at the top, exhaling completely. Continuing to breathe like this, tuning out distractions by simply noticing them, inhaling, moving them to the side, and exhaling. Inhaling the good, exhaling the things that no longer serve you, turning those things we perceive to be bad into lessons, recognizing that all things are working together for the good. Inhaling and exhaling slowly. Adding to this practice the bowing of our heads and the opening of our hearts as we go to spirit in acknowledgement and prayer. God of our acceptance, God of our understanding, you are our mother, you are our father. And as we rise today, we give thanks to this spirit of our beginning. We are alive, we are breathing, we are grateful to be living. As we move through this day with our purpose in our heart, we remember that a grateful ending begins with a grateful start. And so we are grateful today. We are grateful for the ability to gather here as a fellowship. We are grateful for this silent acknowledgement of your presence as the fuel that moves us through the day, that gets us through the night. We give thanks in this moment for healthness and healthy wellness, and for love and for holistic understanding of who we are and whose we are. We give thanks for those who gather here across all lines to find a safe place to grow, to love, to become, to know. What a wonderful space. We give thanks that 8 years ago on this very day, that the calling was given for the Infinity Fellowship. We give thanks for the months that took place of preparation and love. We give thanks for all of the good things that happen. We give thanks for all of the crazy things that happen because we learned something from them. We give thanks for all the bumps on the road. We give thanks for the walls that had to be torn down. We give thanks for the plumbing that had to be put in the ground. We give thanks for the people who got knee deep in it and helped us build this community, and those who are continuing to build and maintain. We speak healing over everyone's life, recognizing that the rising tide lifts all of the boats. So as we rise together in this infinite year, in this year of transcendence, we know that we do this only through your power, through your love, through your grace, through your commitment, through your divine presence. We know that you're not an absent God, you are a present God. And so we acknowledge in awareness in this moment your healing power. We send love to the Knowles family, to Brother Demetrius's father who suffered a stroke yesterday. We speak that he is coming back. He is on the trail. He is rising. His blood is flowing. His brain is clear and crisp. And we're speaking that the Knowles family and everyone in the area of Memphis, Tennessee is knowing that they are in the healing space right now by your divine power. We speak a special blessing over our speaker today, and we give thanks for what he has gifted the world with. And we speak that you will continue to speak as you have for his entire life through him, that something may be said or shared that will remind us of your presence in our daily lives. We give thanks in this moment for things we can put into words and those we cannot. And we say together, Amen, Amen, Hotep, Shalom, Namaste, Ashe. And so it is. All right, as we prepare for our pouring of libations, we want to recognize that as we prepare to pour with this water here today, we are pouring out the essence of life into the space of the earth, which is what happens in the space when we no longer need these bodies. And so we acknowledge our ancestors in this moment right now. We give thanks for our ancestors in this moment right now. If there's anyone that's in the lobby that we need to let in, we can let them in right now and open the doors, and great, we can leave them in that space and leave those open for us. So as we prepare for the pouring of our libations, we want you to think about those in your family who have transitioned from the space of life to the space of life after life, knowing that energy is not ever created or destroyed, it simply changes form. So absence in this physical space means presence with our divine creation. And we know that across face. It's a wonderful message to know. We keep our stories, we keep our ancestors alive when we tell their stories, when we remember their names. So if there's someone that you've got in your consciousness space that you want to call out, please, by all means, in a moment, we're going to call those names aloud. If you're watching online, of course, as always, you can chat them in the box. All right, well, we pour our water and say, cool water, also known as the Omi Tutu. Freshen our spirits, Ashe. Freshen and consecrate this house of spirit, Ashe. Freshen our collective ancestors, Ashe. We give praise to Almighty Mother, Father God, Divine Source, and all creation, Ashe. Grant to us peace and prosperity, Ashe. We pour to the energies of the North, where we find our sense of direction and commitment to be a yes today for growth, Ashe. We pour to the energies of the South, where we find our understanding of who we are and whose we are, Ashe. We pour to the energies of the East, where the rising sun reminds us that today we got another day, so anything else is just in the rearview mirror, Ashe. We pour to the energies of the West, where when the sun goes down, the lunar cycle begins, and that divine feminine principle reminds us that there is always light, even in the darkness, Ashe. Oh, to the sky above us, that space where we see our dreams, and we are able to let our minds wander as they wander. And when we think and see those dreams, we're able to pull them into manifest reality. That is the sky above, Ashe. And to the sixth direction, the ground below, recognizing that when we put down roots, even when the wind blows, we are swayed and we might have to bend, but it's better to bend than it is to break, Ashe. And to the seventh direction in the Lakota people's tradition, the space where they all come together, the Grand Central Station, the space that the yogis would call Anjali, the heart space, the direction that pulls it together, where our dreams are manifest and we are empowered to live, love, and grow. Ashe. We ask at this time that you call aloud the names of those you'd like to recognize as we pour the rest of the water. Let us begin. Ashe. And for the children in the womb, world, and yet unborn, we say Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Oh, all right. It is done. And so it is. Today's meditation comes to us from the ancestor and great literary giant, Chinua Achebe, which we will revisit a little bit later today. But he says we cannot trample upon the humanity of others without devaluing our own. The Igbo, always practical, put it concretely in their proverb, Onye ji onye, nyani ji onye ya. He who will hold another down in the mud must stay in the mud to keep him down. We'll get the shouting on that one. All right, so take that meditation for everything that it's worth. It's a beautiful thing, especially my young people in here today. Y'all keep that in mind. If y'all going to keep somebody in the mud, that means that you got to stay in the mud with them. So we want y'all to be so fresh and so clean. All right, so let's welcome up. We're going to welcome up the Lindsley family. They're in the house from Macon, Georgia. So Terrell and Tashana are going to come up and lead us in our statement of infinitude. Ashe. Give them some love. Give them a round of applause. Let's get this thing going in here. All right.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing? Glad to see you all. Hey, Infinite Streamers.
Infinite Streamers.
All right, statement of infinitude.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. All right. Thank you, sir. Okay, today is the day that God of your acceptance and understanding, the source of all that is, was, and ever shall be, has made. Let us together rejoice and be glad in it as we weave our voices together. We invite peace, love, and joyfulness into our lives as we speak it, as we sing it, as we feel it, so it is. Go ahead, sugar.
All right, statement of infinitude. As we welcome you to the Infinity Fellowship, we pause to remind you of the 4 core principles of our gathering. We call that
Snap.
All right, the S is for spirituality that transcends religion and connects you to the God of our own understanding. The N is for nurturing of ourselves, others, mind, body, and spirit. The A is for that action. Because we take action in our callings and walk in our divine purposes every single day. And then the P, my favorite, is the proof. Our spiritual practices manifest fruit in our lives through the building and maintaining of healthy and prosperous families, relationships, careers, and dreams. We are grateful you all are here as unique manifestations of our Creator, the loving, living spirit of our commonality. The divine source of all creation, perceived by many names, yet known by only one energy. This is the foundational practice of true interspirituality, where we all are affirmed in love energy. So I invite you all to join us in our statement of infinitude.
Let's do this.
We agree that we are beings of pure eternal spirit, birthed from the creative potential of the universe, with all the powers of the Creator inherent within us. We embrace the innate goodness of humankind and an abundant creation that provides for us through the seeds that we plant in our everyday lives. We acknowledge that who we are is housed in a temporary biological organism, and as such, it is our responsibility
to take care of it, because it will only last for a precious window of time. As we nurture ourselves spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically, we commit to provide like acts of nurturing for our fellow brothers and sisters of the world we live in, embracing all regardless of religious faith, skin color, ethnicity, gender, spiritual orientation, and socioeconomic background. All are truly welcome at Infinity.
We agree and accept that various religions exist as a unique opportunity for humanity to get to know one another through meaningful conversations that seek to explore the core concepts we share in common. It is the application of ancient wisdom, scientific discovery, and spiritual practices, both physical and metaphysical, that will lead us closer together as a human family. We commit to exist now and ever as a beloved community. Let it be so according to the many ancient terms of affirmation. Amen. Amen. Hotep. Shalom. Namaste. Ashe.
All right. Y'all give it up for the Lensleys. Great job, y'all. Great job. All right, y'all. We're going to pour some gratitude. We're going to get us some gratitude going up in this space today. So as we get ready to generate gratitude, let us ask ourselves, are we excited to be here today? Are you excited to be here today in the place? All right, it's an exciting day to be here. I'm telling you that. This is a great day to commemorate. We got some great wisdom that's going to come down the pike today. And we love to say good morning to you. And the way we say it is we sing it. We sing good morning. And then we give ourselves an opportunity to share. Wait, I need a mic. Come on, let me get y'all a mic. We got some guest artists. Everybody rise to your feet. Let's say good morning. And then we're going to go around and find 3 people and say one thing that you're grateful for. Come on, let's go.
A good morning to you. A good morning to you. A good morning to you. Good morning to you. And we say a da 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 a da 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 a da da.
All right, go around and find 2 people that you're grateful for. Tell 2 people one thing that you're grateful for.
A good morning to you. A good morning to you. Good morning to you. Well, good morning, y'all online. We're so happy that you all are with us. It's going to be a great morning. Happy Founders Day. We're doing the doggone thing, so make sure that you're typing in something that you are grateful for this morning. You know what? I'm always grateful to be online with you all. So good morning. Don't forget to type it in. Type in what you're grateful for so we can feel all of that good energy. Okay? Good morning to you. A good morning to you. A good morning to you. 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 Good job.
Right. Give it up for everybody, for our new voices of Infinity. featuring Kamaria and Taylor. So we are in there in the space today, y'all. So as we are in the space and we're ready to continue to press on, we're grateful to start our day to say good morning, and especially as we are coming into the space today. My man, good to see you. We got a good seeing more faces in here, man. It's great. This is our offering time. It's our giving time. We get excited about giving at Infinity. We recognize that giving is a part of any building of any true long-term community, especially a community that's going to be generational. I do want to say that, again, it was 8 years ago on this day, a little after midday, that the calling for Infinity Fellowship came about. So we're excited about being able to be here 8 years later, through everything that we have been through every iteration that we'll mention a little later today. But I do want to say thank you to everybody here who is pouring into this community. Thank you to everybody who's online around the globe for pouring into this community, because we are literally sitting in these seats. We're literally looking at this broadcast. We're literally feeling the energy in the space and sipping coffee and parking on concrete. All of that because people said, you know what, it's important to have a community where everybody feels welcome. It's important to have a community where people feel loved, where they feel safe, where people can bring their young people and their children and they can grow in a space of positivity. It's so important. And we do that by partnering with each other. We do that by giving. There are those who are giving in the tithing space. And you know, if you've read the 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity, which is my book, you know that simple act of taking 10% of what you put into receiving the world and putting it back is a powerful act, because it tunes you to the frequency of abundance. It tunes you to the frequency of no lack. And I always say, when people say, well, why do you give the way you give? What do you expect to get? And I said, I don't give like it's a lottery. I don't put something down expecting God just start multiplying. That's the reason why I'm giving. I'm actually paying back what I'm already taking. So I've already taken thousands of breaths before I even got in my car this morning. You know, I had my right mind already this week. I had the gift to navigate the struggles that I went through this week, and I got through them, and I'm still standing. So thank you, God. If I just give you a little bit of what I got, I'll be paying forever. So we're grateful in this moment. So as you are getting ready to give, as you're getting your devices, you can give via Cash App, you can give via PayPal, you can also give via mail or in person here in the basket here. And that basket has an A on it for a reason. It's for action, because giving is taking action. It's also for abundance. And abundance, as we define it as infinity, is very clear. Abundance simply means that you got a healthy body. It means you're in your right mind. It means you're doing the kind of work that brings you love. It means that you don't have to worry about resources. That's what it means. And so we give in this moment. As we are preparing, we want to make sure that we supercharge our gift today, and that we're grateful to give. We want to stand to our feet and take a deep breath. And as we are in this space, I do want to thank the Lindsley family again, because they came all the way up here from Macon, Georgia. They've been getting on that road. The Sadlers from Mississippi. And as we give, I'm going to tell you about the power of giving. When you start giving, the universe detects that. God detects that. And say, oh, that's the frequency they want. I'm going to give more and more and more. And even in their space of giving, the Lindsleys came, and for Founders Day, for just Sunday service, they brought us a gift. And they have been in this practice of giving so well that they took a snapshot of our giving affirmation, and that portrait on the wall, they brought that in last night, and we got it on the wall. So thank you all. Thank you all because that's just a totem, as we know. It is a token of something that means something, and it means that you have been giving, and that's a spirit that is blessing you and everybody else in this community. So let's speak this powerful affirmation together. Take a deep breath, exhale, release, and let us speak it together. Oh, limitless, abundant creator, source of everything I possess, you have given me the gifts of life, breath, and creativity. You continue to provide for me without judgment or preference. And so I freely return these gifts to you with my whole heart, mind, and intention, knowing that as I give freely with both remembrance and gratitude, the circle of abundance will be unbroken. And so it is. All right. Everybody repeat after me. Everything is good. Everything is good. Everything is good. I got it. I got it. I got it good. Let us give at this time, and we're going to sing, and we're going to keep it rocking. Hey.
I've got it. Oh, I've got it good. Hey, everything is good. Yeah, everything is good. said everything, oh, everything is good, and I've got it. I've got it. Oh, I've got it good. Hey, yeah. Yes, it is. I said everything. Oh, everything is good, and I've got it. I've got it. Oh, I've got it good. Hey, everything. Yes, it is. I said everything is good. Oh, everything is good, and I've got it. I've got it. Oh, I've got it good. Come on, sing it with me now. Come on, infinity. 8 years from this day. Think it's good, and I've got it. Woo! I've got it. Oh, I've got it good. Oh, I've got it good. I've got it. Hey. Oh, I've got it good. Oh, I've got it good. I've got it. Hey, I've got it. Oh, I've got it good. Oh, I've got it good. Yeah.
All right. May be seated. Good morning, Infinity. Thank you, Lady Kanitha, for leading us through that. This is a reminder. We do standing ovations at Infinity, and standing ovations is something that's in your rearview mirror. So if you have completed something, a manifestation that you want to celebrate, we can celebrate with you. We're going to ask you to fill out a little form in the back. Just write what the manifestation is. We already have one in here. And just bring it up after our visitors welcome and put it in the red jar. And when it's time for announcements, we're going to make sure that we shout you out. So we tune our frequency to abundance when we celebrate when other people have great accomplishments happen, right? And we got some stars in this place with some great things, and we want to hear all about them. Every wonderful participatory thing that you did and manifested over the last week or so. All right, so as we're in the space today, I want to welcome any first timers. My name is Rev Jeff. That's what they call me here. My full name is Jeff Obafemi Carr, and I'm the Chief Spiritual Officer here at the Infinity Fellowship. This is a space where people make a step of moving just beyond the religious doctrine into the spiritual practices that manifest fruit in their lives. Whatever space you claim to be in, we affirm that for you. Christian, Muslim, Jew, agnostic, whatever you may be. There's some people who say, I'm so big in my concept of spirit that I can't put a name on it, but I know I'm connected. Well, welcome home. Welcome home. Because this gives a space for us to gather and for us to build in community and do the great works that we do in this neighborhood and in this world. So we want to welcome you and let you know that we see you for who you truly are in the space today. We have a first physical time in Infinity visitors in the place today. If we have any, would you stand briefly? We won't put you too far on the spot. There we go. Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay. All right. Give a round of applause. So we want to let y'all know and everybody know that we don't see you as a human being today who showed up to have a spiritual experience. We see you as the other way around. Your spirit navigating a human experience just like the rest of us. So we like to let you know that in a special way. So this side turn to each other, this side turn to each other. Stand with our visitors. And then we're gonna get y'all to move a little bit this way so the people at home can see me. That one weird camera angle just blocks everything. Thank you, appreciate y'all. All right, turn to somebody, look in their eyes, hold your hands up toward them. Yes, and don't be afraid. Look into some eyes. We ain't gonna fight you at Infinity for looking in eyes. This is more powerful when you deliver it. Take a deep breath. Exhale and release. All right. And repeat after me with enthusiasm and meaning. And I guarantee you, you're not only going to help somebody feel some kind of way, but you're going to feel some kind of way yourself. Repeat after me. I see you. But you don't hear me, though. I really see the real you. I see who you are. You are a divine manifestation of God's creation. I see what you are. You are a spirit. You're more than what's on the outside. You are a gift to me and to the entire world. I see where you are. You're right here in front of me. Well, I can let you know, if nobody else will, that you are not alone. I'm with you. We're with you. And you're at home. I see when you are. You're in the right now, baby. You are so much more than your yesterday. I see why you are. You're here to learn, to grow, to embrace your dreams, and to celebrate your divine destiny. I know all this because I'm here to do the same thing. So we're going to help each other out. All right? All right? I know the real you. And I see you shining today. I feel you shining today. I know you shining today. So welcome to infinity. Welcome home. I say, oh, give somebody a high five. Give them a hug. This is when we take that moment of gratitude. This is when our young people will make their transition to the downstairs space. Everybody else, take a break. Grab you a cup of coffee. Grab you some tea. Grab you some water. Lid your drink. And we'll see you back inside here in a minute. If you are at home, go ahead and scan that QR code. It's going to be an awesome experience for you. We're going to send you a love note at home. And if you bring it in, we'll give you a special gift. So scan that barcode. We got a special message just for you. I am so happy to have you guys here. This is Rev Jeff, and I am actually in my office for services. When we take a coffee break, I wanted to give you an opportunity to take a coffee break too. So if you're watching us at home, you may be watching us on the replay. We want to invite you to be a part of Infinity Fellowship. It's been 8 years since we first had the vision to launch this fellowship, and it's been a special 8 years. It has not been without its trials and tribulations. I could sing one of those old gospel songs, I'm still holding on. Y'all might know that. It said I wouldn't make it. So many people have had that feeling. But I tell you one thing about Infinity that has been extremely special. It has been a gift. The gift of not only my life, my family's life, but so much more. So many more people who find this to be a space of home. We are creating a community. We are creating a moment, and we are creating a movement that is creating a safe space for all the people out here. I'm talking to somebody out there now who may have struggled to find a spiritual home. You might be young and you're looking for guidance and direction, but you just don't like to be beat over the head with harsh doctrine. You want spiritual practices that are manifesting fruit. Well, I invite you to consider the Infinity Fellowship. I want you to go to the website at myif.org and or fill out this little QR code right here, because this little QR code right there, if you hold up and you scan it, it's going to take you to our visitors form. And you also have a checkbox there if you'd like to join and become a member. When you become a member of Infinity, we take you through an orientation class where you get to study ancient wisdom principles, including those 4 spiritual laws that I referenced earlier. And you get an opportunity to really be a part of a great community, a community that is building housing, a community that is feeding people on a regular basis, a community where people are studying and living and walking in their divine purpose. That's what the Infinity Fellowship has been over the last 8 years. That's what it's going to continue to be, a community of people. So by all means, take that scan. We're going to get on with the rest of the service. Get your journal ready, because Baba Umaru Jutte is an esteemed elder with a whole lot of good things to say. This is a great time to send a text to somebody and say, hey man, hey girl, get that Infinity Fellowship in your spirit right now. Join me online and tag me. If you're on Twitter, if you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe, hit the like button. Let's continue to go. Let's continue to grow together. Love you guys. See you in a minute.
Yeah. Good morning, Infinity. All right, one more time. Good morning, Infinity. Right, happy Founders Day to you all. And if we have reminders today, which we do, so we are going to move quickly through announcements so that you can mark your calendars. So with that being said, welcome to IF Teaches Sunday and Founders Day. Snap it on up right here. And in preparation for sending ovations, if you are an Infinite streamer and you have a manifest achievement that you want to report as a standing ovation today, go ahead and type into the chat box right this time. Not now, but right now. Thank you. So, standing ovation is an accomplishment that you have made that we can shout you out for. Let us know what good thing you've birthed into the world by typing it in early. So, welcome to April, the 4th month of 2020. Trace, because this right here is the year of transcendence. And the definition of transcendence is to exist or to go beyond the range of, to surpass, exist, or experience beyond the normal or physical level. And what a powerful concept for spiritual practice, because this is the year that we rise together to the next level in everything that we think, say, and most importantly, do. Bars. Invisible mic drop. Clink, clink. Now we invite you to empower yourself continually by speaking aloud our daily mantra for the year. Even from the ashes I rise, which we will say together in sync. I'm flying high, so high. I don't know how the song goes. I'm just making up stuff. It don't matter. So next week is Yoga Sunday, and it will be virtual. So do not come to the front door, because it will be locked. So next week is our moving meditation Sunday service. We call it Yoga Sunday. We will be fully virtual, so online only. Yoga Sunday has grown in size and scope, and next week you will be able to focus on growing your personal practice from the privacy of your own home, whatever that may be, no matter if it's outside, inside, sideways, does not matter. Just do you, boo. You know what I'm saying? So we look forward to seeing you online next week. And today, after service, is our beautiful potluck meal. Go on and snap it up. It's okay. So immediately after service concludes, we will ask that you assist us in moving the chairs and bringing the tables for our awesome meal. You may begin to smell that good food at the moment. Go on, breathe it in. It's okay. Just breathe out the beautiful food in. Whew. I'm looking forward to it myself. All right, so let's all pitch in to make space for the food, fellowship, and yes, clean up after. Of course, you got to clean up after, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to leave a mess, you know what I'm saying? That's just terrible, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to have bad manners. So, and with that being said, the infinite awards are coming. Yes. Now, as an affirming community, we are pausing to recognize individuals and families who have gone the extra mile to make a difference here at Infinity and in the community at large. On the last Sunday of the month, which is Fifth Sunday, we will present our first ever Infinitude Awards. And yes, there will be several categories to be presented, and you may hear your name called. You never know. Might be myself, might be anybody in this room. You never know. Might be online. So we will host the awards during normal service times, so plan to dress to impress as we recognize the people, places, and ideas that are changing the world in a positive way. May, my birthday month. May is a powerful month at Infinity, and we have some special activities to note. First off, we have Corks and Conversations, our quarterly get-together for married couples. All the married, it's okay, put your finger, it's okay, put your ring finger up, it's all good. Go right ahead, be proud of it. I ain't got one yet. I will have one soon when the time comes. All right, put that on my vision board. So, oh yeah, definitely. So, and it will return with a special evening of fun, bonding, discussion, and growth. The date will coincide with Memorial Day. And speaking of Memorial Day weekend, plan to spend it with Infinity because we will host a property cleanup. And that's inside and out, of course, our annual Memorial Day family, friend, and fun fest with games, food, fellowship, and great times, all on our menu. And we look forward to you bringing along someone. If you've done Memorial Day at Infinity, which I have myself, and I will be back again, you know it's the perfect activity to rejuvenate and inspire yourselves. So those are the announcements for this morning. So let's bring back up leading lady Kenitha Carr and Brother Jeff to the podium because you know what time it is. Drum roll, please. Standing ovations. Thank y'all so much.
Okay. All right. Our high energy here at IF comes from our practice of snap. It's why we snap our fingers during this part of the service. We receive practical lessons and tools for our individual journeys. That's spirituality. We fellowship with like-minded spirits every week. That's nurturing. We take what we learn and apply it in our lives, and that's action. And if we do these, then every week we should see examples of progress in our lives, and that, y'all, is the proof. So let us pause to enjoy a collective moment of manifestation and expansion. So here's what's going to happen. When your name is called, please stand as I read aloud your manifestation. And you're doing this at home too when we call your name. And then when I finish each person's ovations, we will all snap our fingers to celebrate and affirm them. And then at the very end, okay, we're going to provide a collective standing ovation. That's out of this world. All right. We're ready?
We got
a lot. Okay, good.
Those, we'll get the rest of these.
You gonna hand them to me?
Yeah, well,
You got
I'm gonna stack them
okay.
right here.
There we go. All right. This is for DJ. He's downstairs. Go, DJ. And that's our DJ. And
You're
the
downstairs,
kids watch
son.
while it's going on, too. So they're watching
Yes.
these. So he says, my accomplishment is I went to my spring dance last night.
Ah.
Woo! I know you had a good time, DJ. Woo!
All right. They had some fun.
I know that.
And so because DJ's standing ovation, he went to the dance. I'm presuming he danced, and he danced
I hope
very
so.
well.
Yes.
And showed out.
Yes.
So we
and
love
not
it.
just stay on the
Okay,
wall.
He did.
He did
Okay,
actually
good.
dance.
He actually went to the school dance and danced.
Yes.
Miracle of modern
That used to be
society. I
so
love
much
it.
fun, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, the Knolls. Woo!
The nose, stand on up.
So they said we were featured on a live podcast called 100 Real Love Stories. I was invited back this Wednesday for a live called Always Stuck in the Middle.
Woo! Podcasting in the house.
The
Appearances.
real love series, honey.
real
The
love.
real. Yes, Knowles. Okay, so this is a standing ovation I forgot to put in there, but Daniel, where he escaped to, Daniel Carr, and also
Where did Daniel go? Is he in the kitchen
my
cooking?
brother August, that is online hopefully. So Daniel's birthday was on April 5th, and he just turned 17. So just say happy birthday happy birthday.
trying
And
to
then
stretch out,
on
too.
April 9th, my brother August
Yes.
had his birthday as well. So
That's right.
Nice happy birthday. Ready?
1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Keep growing on up. Keep growing on up. Oh, I'm doing
sorry.
them this one. Yeah,
oh,
we go.
thank you. Okay. All right, Josh. Who's in the
Josh,
back?
she was working our tech
Woo.
today back there.
Okay, so his first accomplishment is that he started his new job, and this job has opportunities to travel to big events like Coachella and the Grand Prix.
Okay. Travel. Come on and travel.
Okay, and second standing ovation is my business has been growing, has been successful with more than 10 plus customers. Very happy.
Yes.
Woo!
You love it when they start their own business.
Ain't that all right? I know. Success on them shirts. Yes. All right. Oh, this is for Kavaya. She's downstairs. Hi, Kavaya. Okay, her standing ovation says, I have the end of the school year exams this week, and I hope I do well. You
Woo!
are.
You are going to.
do
You
well.
gonna-
How about that, Kavaya?
You gonna open that thing up and go. We expect no less.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing. We can't wait to hear.
All this brilliance.
Yes.
Love it.
All right, Star.
Star.
It's shining star.
No matter who
Okay,
you are.
her accomplishment is on this past Friday, my daughter Kalia passed her state exam to become a certified clinical medical assistant. What?
Good Lord. These youngsters are
She
doing it.
hasn't even graduated from high school, y'all.
No,
That is.
Hasn't even graduated yet.
Oh my. Kalia, she's downstairs too. Oh my God. She studied hard for this exam and was nervous, but scored above the passing score. My baby girl Cassidy, who's downstairs, was awarded 2 award certificates on award day. One for perfect attendance. Come on.
That's you, mama. That's you, mama.
Yes. And the other one for good citizenship.
That's you too. Hey, Cassidy.
Woo. Come on, girl. Awesome.
Love it.
Yes.
Love it.
Those are my babies, honey.
Oh, man.
Yes.
Everybody's shining. I love
Yes.
it.
All right. Brother Johnny Chris Sadler.
Woo!
He
Don't stand up so
says-
we can look at you. We
Yes.
gotta love on you. The VIP right now,
That's
brother.
all right.
You gotta be
Yes.
the VIP.
He
It's
says,
your moment.
my youngest son graduated police academy from Mississippi last week. I have 1 week left, RN to BSN school to graduate.
Woo! We got
Okay, on
more.
the back. My youngest Oh, Sam. Okay, my youngest graduated police academy, is working as law enforcement officer in Tupelo, Mississippi.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
I say that
Tupelo.
right? Tupelo.
We gotta get some
Okay,
country
Tupelo,
in you.
Mississippi. I know, right? I'm scheduled to graduate RN. Well, you had the RN to BSN school April 29th. 1 week of school left. There it is.
Awesome. Woo! All right.
Okay.
Let's see who we got, if we got any
got any
online.
online?
We got so many, y'all. We're going to break
is
that
so
jar
good.
by the middle of the year. I love it. I love it. Standing ovations.
Standing ovation.
All right, so on this space.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm looking at Christy right there.
Oh, there
Christy
we go.
Sharp. Good to see you, Christy. My name is Christy. I'm grateful for my son and me celebrating another birthday. So 2 more birthdays. 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to
ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. Love it. Lakeisha Taylor in the house. All right, Razaya, our 8-year-old, wanted us to share. He scored 3 goals in his soccer game yesterday. He has been manifesting himself scoring a goal for 1 year. So he's been manifesting scoring 1 year for a year, and he scored 3 of them in his game. So yeah, we love it. We love it. We love it. We love it. All right, so we got any other ones up here, Tone? We pull up.
I got one.
Oh, okay.
One more.
Here we go. Just put it up.
Okay.
All right.
Woo.
Tony in there. Tony I is wishing my little nephew Sam a happy birthday.
Oh,
Come
happy
on.
birthday,
1, 2, 3. Happy birthday.
birthday to you. A lot of birthdays.
Happy birthday
to
to
you.
ya. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Sam.
birthday, Sam. I tell you what, man, we could do some scientific tracing back of months and find out what humanity was doing at a certain time of year. We had so many birthdays.
A lot of birthdays.
Well, we
Yeah.
count
We
back
don't need
9
to know all
months.
of that.
Something was happening in the world.
Yes, okay.
Like, you know, you can trace the COVID babies now. Everybody's like, oh,
Yes,
this is
we can
okay.
trace them guys.
Yeah, they trace them down. All
Something
right.
about the springtime.
Johnny, you have one more I need to look at before
Yes.
you pass that up to me.
Springtime. Standing ovation.
All right. I hope I can too.
Okay.
Your writing's better than mine, I'm sure.
It is.
All right. Grandbaby Michaela, cheers team, her cheer team. You were up here for a cheer competition before.
Oh my God.
Won first place in Nashville yesterday. Yes, this is what I'm talking about. Solid celebration area. Okay, Mama. What we
Okay,
got?
so if you shared, you get to have several seats, and that's for everybody online, and that's for my babies downstairs. Have a seat while the rest of us are going to stand to our feet and give a collective standing ovation. Okay, we got to make
Out
sure
of
it's
the
loud so
world.
they can hear it downstairs and they can feel it online. Are you ready? Here we go. Woo! Woo! Yes, those are the announcements and ovations for today. So it is spoken, so it is received, and so it is. Ashe. Woo! Yes.
All right. Man, I tapped that thing so hard, it started getting out of wind. I was like, But hey, but look, if you're gonna lose your breath and go nuts, ain't it great that you can do that in celebrating somebody's success? You know, when you do that, I say it every Sunday, when you tune yourself to the frequency where you can celebrate others, that opens the universe for people to celebrate you. So that tells the universe, hey, I got my great stuff coming too. So whatever your ovation is, if you don't got it this week, you got it next week and the week after. Be a part of celebrating in a beautiful way. As we prepare for our message today, just a couple of reminders. 8 years ago today, I always watch the clock on April 16th because rarely doesn't April 16th fall on an exact Sunday. You know, all of these wonderful, beautiful spaces. And in our 8th year of existence, that infinity symbol on the side. So there's all of these wonderful signs and wonders that we see. But a series of signs intersected to break down every spiritual wall I had inside me to accept the calling to manifest this thing called Infinity Fellowship. 6 months later, we began in the rear room of the LaQuire Art Gallery on Charlotte Avenue, subleasing from the Actors Bridge Ensemble. This day is special not because of me, but because of the nature of the universe, of the God of our acceptance and understanding, providing a way out of no apparent way to create a space where people who consider themselves more spiritual than necessarily religious can build generational community. I'm here, we're here, all of us, as a part of divine lineage of teachers, guides, sages, elders, and institutions, many of which have come and gone. But today I have the pleasure of welcoming back to infinity a man who I very much consider a mentor and guide. Yeah, he came and saw us and taught at our very first year of existence back in that actor studio. And I'm excited that now, years later, he can return through not just the actor studio, but through Cone Adult Learning Center, through Coleman Park Community Center, through a meeting outside in the room in there with black trash bags taped against the wall while we blew the walls open in this space. Through all of that, for him to be sitting here with us today, it is indeed a blessing. I'm going to read you his bio. This is Umaru Jutte. Oh, it's Ifs Teaches, and I love it because this is the one Sunday where you get to have Q&A. And I love a church that you can open up the microphone and say, you got something you need to know, ask the question now. Don't book an appointment for later. But we want you to grow in real time. Umaru Jutte is a 73-year-old father of 6 adults and 3 additional adopted daughters. Married 48 years to Samira Malanya. They represent a tradition of African-American extended family beyond genealogical borders and boundaries in support of raising that community. The revitalization of traditional African-centered culture has increased their extended family's ability to work successfully within the cultural identity of America. Umar and Samira started an after-school school from which over 100 students in 10 years participated. 60% graduated college. 30% of that cohort matriculated into master's, doctoral, and postdoctoral degrees. 40 of those students are now successful business owners. Of the remaining students, trade school and apprenticeships proved to be even more a successful path into economic growth and stability. In 20 years of teaching, only 1 student had been imprisoned. Sankore Academy was modeled on the academic rigor of Sankore University of Mali and the Grand Lodge of Aksum and Alexandria. The 2 universities were extensions of the temple system of ancient Kemet, Egypt. Omar has lived in West Africa, North and Northwest Africa, and also East Africa and Asia. As a child, Omar, also Umaru, but you know, we Baba Omar, we go we go back and forth. I'm obafemi and obafemi, depending on where you are, but it's the same love. Get this though, as a child, Baba Umar was supported by Imandi Azikwe, an Igbo lineage holder and traditionally titled Owele of Onitsha, the Kingmaker. Dr. Ezekwe became the Governor General of the nation. Dr. Ezekwe also assigned Professor Chinua Achebe as the Jutte brothers' Igbo and Yoruba tutor. So an internationally known novelist is teaching this brother as a child and his brothers Igbo and Yoruba. Omar is nationally board certified practitioner of acupuncture and energy medicine. He has 48 years of experience, including foreign training and a master's degree in classical Chinese medicine. A graduate also of TSU's nursing school, Omar is also a St. Thomas trained RN with experience in cardiac, renal, and transplant medicine. Omar's area of focus include fertility and ovarian syndrome, musculoskeletal pain, neuropathy, support for patients in cancer treatment as well. Stress therapy, addictions, and autonomic dystonia comprise his fifth area of practice. Umaru is also a 48-year practitioner of Tai Chi Chuan. Omar is recognized as perhaps the first acupuncturist in America to use acupuncture anesthesia as an intraoperative procedure for pre-anesthesia in a bilateral mastectomy. Post-operatively, acupuncture was used for pain management without any narcotic use by the patient. Omar also treats phantom limb pain in diabetics and military veterans. That's where I'm going to stop on that, because the rest is this man. So I want you to give us a round of applause for Baba Umaru Jutte. And as we assemble, we're going to begin to sing our song, Come and Go to That Land. Y'all give us a round of applause for Baba Jutte in the house. Come on up over there. Yes, as he turns his mic pack on and we get ready for that. Now, Daniel, I'm going to go to my pack too, on my headset. You might have to turn on do you see the Baba for Yoga? Press that button on the white input. Let me come back here and do it for you. Come on, y'all, let's sing. Come and go to that land. Come and go to that land. Why don't you come and go to that land? Where I'm bound, where I'm bound. Come and go to that land. Come and go to that land. Come and go to that land. Where I'm bound, there is love in that land. There is love in that land. Oh, there is love in that land. Where I'm bound, where I'm bound. Oh, there is love in that land. Oh, there is love in that land. There is love in that land. Oh, where I'm bound. Oh, all of my people are in that land. All of my people are in that land. Oh, all of my people are in that land. Oh, where I'm bound, where I'm bound. Oh, all of my people are in that land. All of my people are in that land. Oh, all of my people are in that land. Where I'm bound. Oh, don't you wanna go to that land? Don't you wanna go to that land? Don't y'all wanna go to that land? Where I'm bound, where I'm bound. Oh, don't you wanna go to that land? Don't you wanna go to that land? Don't you wanna go to that land where I'm bound? Oh, take a deep breath here. Exhale, let it go. As we come into this era of peace, y'all, we recognize that vibration and this energy here. I want to say that I'm grateful to be here, Baba, and I'm going to turn over the floor to you for a few minutes and just let you Talk for a few minutes about your life, your spiritual journey, whatever spirit has moved you to share with people who are assembled here and abroad to hear. But I want to say that anytime I'm in your presence, I feel like I need to sit and cross my legs and sit on the floor and close my mouth. And that's a beautiful thing. You've been a great elder for so many people and people across the globe and here in Nashville. The concept when you hear of Queen Mothers and this concept of especially those 5 Queen Mothers that we had for so many years here, almost 3 decades. This is the brother who brought it here through spirit. And that concept of selection and a council of elders, that's who brought it here. And there are many who have come and left, many who have come and transitioned, but this brother is still here. So I just wanted to give you those flowers while we still live and turn the floor over to Baba Umaru Jutte. There it is. It's on?
It's on.
Yes, sir.
It's on like a pot of neck bones. Just one last adjustment. Could somebody bring that chair over here and put it next to Baba?
Okay.
The empty chair. And somebody go in the other room in there. There's a picture of Mother on the wall.
Oh, man. What an honor. Yeah.
The Holy
You know where it
Mother.
is, Denise? Yeah, so does, yeah. That's great. Oh, man. Yes, yes, yes. Take me down just a hair, Josh. Just a hair. Oh, yes. Thank you, D. It's my mama, Mother Carr, Queen Mother Carr. Come on with us, mama. Let's see.
Most of us don't know how far we come. Or how long we've been walking. We walked across the water to get here. You think that you floated in a boat, but you walked across the water. But before you got here, Mother was already here. And we keep looking at the physical form and what she did, what she looked like, and what state she was born in. Ain't nobody here that wasn't born in Africa. And ain't no white people in none of the books that they claim to have written, especially the ones that we wrote. And of course, I don't have nothing against our descendants, especially the ones that are confused about who we are and what their relationship is to us as our great-great-grandchildren. But there's nobody white in the Bible. And the first Europoid people, meaning that they started to deviate through genetic mutation from what we looked like when we walked out of the continent 70,000 years ago, where we all descend from one woman, matrilineal. So we are a matrilineal people, and without acknowledging that, then we are just in bondage to violence, because the nature of man is violent. Medicine, they call that testosterone. So in order for a man to be balanced, we have to we have to have the continual presence of a woman and a woman's love in our life, and a woman's leadership of us, our families, and our children. And that's what mother is all about. So you see Mother Carr. I see Harriet Tubman. I see a woman in Jamaica, they call her Nana, who led the Maroons up into the mountains. And if y'all see Mother Carr, it's the same thing. But you don't understand about the lineage that she come from. Y'all say, oh, she was born in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
No, she wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
She ain't never died yet.
Mm-hmm.
How could she be born
Mm.
when she's everlasting? Araminta, they called her, and they changed her name because they didn't want the people who wasn't initiated in the old way to give her up before her time. But she sacrificed herself. Her first sacrifice. When she was shopping in a store for her master, funny word, who hooked up a yoke and a plow to her and made her plow fields like a horse or a mule. He didn't know that he was making her strong. He was debasing her morality and her mentality, destroying her. Like those who keep you in the mud to push you down will always be in the mud. We've already seen that today. And she went to a store one day to get some things, and a runaway had come through to steal some food and run out the back door, but before he could run, the slave master came in, saw him, and he couldn't catch him. And so he threw a 2-pound lead weight at him to hit him. Mother stood in the way. She closed her eyes and took the hit of a 2-pound lead weight being thrown by a man to kill another man. She was unconscious for 2 weeks and had seizures for the rest of her life. But as she grew older, the seizures would get strange. She would see things. She would see the coming. She could see the advent. She could see what's going on now as a result of what the advent was. And she could see the outcome. It's a woman who walked 500 miles at least every month for over 20 years. Able to change her appearance, standing in the midst of her persecutors with a $50,000 reward on her head, and they couldn't see her. They couldn't recognize her. Always coming back to lead another group of souls to freedom land. So we don't give up. This is a continuation of what she started. She didn't quit. Her last word was, I go to make a place for you. And I know that all of you have been to her home. And I know that all of you have been to her grave. Her grave is covered by a 100-foot pine tree, which stands 3 feet behind her headstone. The pine tree was put in as a twig. But they done told you, nigga, don't go worship behind that tree. Don't touch the tree. Don't look for her body. Don't find her spirit. But somebody 1,200 miles away found her spirit. Along with 4 other women. You done come a long way. I don't need it. I blow my nose on my sleeve.
Yeah. We indigenous way.
Anything that come out of my eyes that touch the floor or my clothes is a message from her. But you don't know what she did in Alabama. She told me things she didn't tell her children about what happened to her in Alabama. Same thing that happened to my grandmother's mother. She witnessed. My grandmother's mother was walking my grandmother, and she told her that she was going to go into the house because she was going to pick some mulberries. That's my grandmother, who was 7. Great-grandmother went to the house, to the cabin. 1913. White men came up on horses, found my grandmother, 7 years old, took her to a tree, tied her up to rape her. My great-grandmother said, she overdue. She should be here by now. She went back looking for her. They had her tied up to a tree naked. My great-grandmother said, you gonna rape a child, rape a grown woman. They untied the child and tied my great-grandmother to the tree. Not only did they rape her, they cut off her left breast. They made a tobacco pouch with it. When you understand what the mud is, you'll cry. But it ain't sorrow. It ain't anger. We can't be defeated. That's the ordination. The first shall be last, and the last shall be first again. But you've never been to her house. Some of y'all been to Jerusalem. Some of y'all been to Washington, D.C., to Abraham Lincoln's shrine and Jefferson's home and burial ground. The greatest slave master in all of Western history is buried in Gallatin. He made his first $1 million in 1832 off $20 a head. He built a road from what we now call 5th and Gallatin all the way up to the Kentucky state line using black labor. The road was the same size as it is today, 2 lanes wide on each side, because he had 5 station houses along the way. The road bed was dug 1 foot deep and laid with gravel, then water, then pea gravel, and compressed, the same way they do modern highways. You can't even calculate the cost of building a road like that in that time. It was all done by your ancestors. And this plantation in Gallatin were 3,000 slaves. But he only needed 325, so he sold the remaining to his other plantation in Mississippi, where he had 10,000 slaves. And he had a plantation in Texas with 10,000 slaves. He sold those slaves out all over the South. Each one of those plantations in Texas and Mississippi was over 10,000 acres, 1 acre per slave. He made billions of dollars in cotton. His wife, oh, you don't want to know nothing about her. She was the wealthiest woman in the world. There was only one woman who had more money than her. That was Queen Victoria. And when she sailed to England, she was treated most honorably as though she were the Queen of America. And of course, after her husband died, she married a gambler, Confederate officer, Colonel Ackland, gambled up some of the money. The Civil War came. She kicked him out the house and sold gold, cotton, and laudanum, a narcotic, gunpowder to the Union, to the South, and to the English, and made more money than her husband ever made selling slaves. She built a university here in Nashville. Y'all been there. Y'all been to Belmont College. Y'all been there. But you ain't been to her home. You standing in the middle of what she made. This brother is just a representation of what she made. You don't know what she did for 100 children. Didn't come out of her. They came out of her spirit. And you hear people talk about, why do I need to make a pilgrimage to Harriet Tubman's home? She's dead. But you go to Nigeria and you go to the great forest of Oshogbo and you bow before the Orisha and the statues and you put on your all white because this is the Obatala festival. But you won't put on the red headdress and travel to where this woman freed over 1,000 of your people. And where she said, I could have freed thousands more if only they had known they were slaves.
Yes, yes.
And we sit in a building in a room, so funny. You turn it upside down, you look at the way it's shaped. You see it's a triangle on the top. It's an upside down ship. So she's been to her mother's house, and the other queen mothers did too. But it's time for their children, their great-grandchildren, to recognize that the Orisha crossed over. They're here. They're living in spirit. They're living through the flesh of other people. They all been here. Nat Turner, Ogun. Who was the woman who wrote the newspaper and fought for lynching and got driven out of the South herself? What was her name?
Gotta be Wells.
Oya. You keep looking somewhere you ain't for something that you already is. And you won't believe. Why? Because that's how we wound up here. We broke our covenant. We sold each other into captivity. We broke our covenant. We broke our covenant. Most of us are here because of the wars we fought, enslaving. Some of us was captured as innocents in villages. But we all came through 5 different points of origination and embarkation to travel across the ocean in 2 months to arrive here. My family came in 1750. 1747, my oldest ancestor, my grandfather, was a seaman on a merchant ship, not a slave ship. But they sailed by the 1847 map, the 1747 map, which was the most up-to-date map of West Africa at that time. You got that picture of that map? Yeah, we take things in half steps and half measures, knowing that the battle lasts for eternity.
Pointed at the box under the screen. Sorry, Brother Palmer.
That's
Pointed
okay.
at the box under the screen. Tom.
That's okay.
There it is, yeah.
The battle is for eternity. Even when it's in the book, and they say it to you all the time. We fight not against people and personalities, but agencies and principalities that are spiritual. The majority of us came through this one port. And I hear black people talking all the time about, I don't want to hear no more about Egypt. Egypt was Kemet, but Kemet was made from people who came up from the south. They didn't come from the Mediterranean. They came from what you now call Sudan, Nubia, Punt, Somalia, Tanzania, the Twa, the Pygmy. Oh yeah, the Pygmy, the Twa. The Medu Neter hieroglyphics was brought to Kemet by the Pygmies, by the Twa. You can see this says, this is the Gold Coast. This is a 1747 map. This is the map that my eldest grandfather would have used to sail to this country on. This is Ghana today, but it ain't the Ghana that Mansa Musa took gold from to empower Mali and to devalue gold for over 100 years throughout the world. That Ghana is up on the other side of Mali. But next to Ghana, or the Gold Coast, is the Slave Coast. A funny thing, when the Romans destroyed and fought against Kemet, and the Kemetic society moved back south to Nubia, and then further south, with them came all of the people in the priesthood. Among the people in the priesthood was a group of people who were a tribe of Kemetic people. See, in ancient societies, only the behaviors and activities that gain commerce were locked into your family through what's called the guild. If you were a gold maker, if you made implements in gold, like the gold in the funerary attunement of Tutankhamun, you made that because that's your guild. And nobody else could come in and learn that skill. If you carved in stone and built the pyramids, which is not a tomb, ain't nobody buried in a pyramid other than the first one. But the pyramids in Giza, they're not death markers. They're not burial chambers. But the people who built in stone were a guild. They were paid by the nation to build in perpetuity for you, so that you would always know where you came from and what you have done. The only building that was taller than that was first erected in the 1870s. The Eiffel Tower was the first building they built that was taller than the pyramids of Giza. And we had built Zimbabwe, all of East Africa, Central Africa, and until Kandaka, the Nubian warrior queen who lost an eye in battle with the Roman army, she defeated the Romans as they came to conquer Nubia in the south. And that stopped their conquest. 300 almost, 200, what you would call AD. But already, 30% of the population of Kemet had left going west. It was almost empty. 30% of the population went west. But you wouldn't understand, because you think Egyptians is all light-skinned, straight hair, speak Arabic. Those are just the people who were inbred with the Romans and Greeks. And then they kept inbreeding with the Greeks and the Romans to get lighter and lighter, the same way they do us here. You know, oh boy, when I was in college in Norfolk, you go up to Charles City, Virginia to get you a Charles City girl, because Charles City, Virginia is a county. And it was ahead of the slave breeding in the United States. They sent all the 1/4 white girls down to New Orleans to marry the white boys and the French. You know, and if you happen to get you a Charles City girl, she was light, bright, basically white, green eyes, blue eyes, blonde hair, 6 feet tall, whatever you wanted, and that was your prize.
Wow.
Every time I take a group of kids to Charles City, I take an older brother and go to the same place at the county stoop, I call it. Be an old man out there raking. I say, tell us, brother, what Charles City is famous for. And he said, he don't know. Sure enough, some old yellow gal come walking by. So you see that over there? She been bred. I've been bred too. Funny thing, it says up here on the top of this map, Kingdom of Judah. Kingdom of Judah. All these people, all y'all, from the Kingdom of Judah. But no, I ain't no Jew. I ain't no Jew. None of us are. We're Judean. The Jews are the Ashkenazis who took your faith, took your identity, threw the Torah out and had their scholars write something else called the Talmud. Defame your brother, Yeshua, who's got the message. Take this boy to Egypt land so he can be about his father's business. Of course, you know, the same thing that happened during the time of Moishi, who was also the head of the Haribu clan. Moishi inherited monotheism from his mother, who was Queen Hatshepsut. Wasn't Ramses. Ramses didn't have shit to do with our history. He was just a long-lived pharaoh. But Hatshepsut was the only woman pharaoh in the history of Kemet. And she built everything. Of course, they defaced all of her monuments as she grew older and after she died. Her son was Thutmose. Wasn't her blood son, it was the son of another mother. But she took care of him. She raised him. And a strange thing, Nile crocodile and Hippopotami, the most fierce creatures on earth, don't eat anything wrapped in papyrus. Of course, y'all wouldn't know about papyrus because you didn't invent writing in paper. At least that's what they want you to know. So he went down and found this little boy wrapped up in Haribu clothes, took him back to the palace. Hatshepsut said, we're going to raise him with Tutmos. We're going to make him a high priest. And then as they grew into manhood, Tutmos said, we need to populate the far western kingdom. It's empty, with the exception of one group of people who we will conquer because they look like us. They'll come into our understanding. They were called the Philistines. And Tutmos III took the army to escort his brother and 8,000 people across the Reed Sea. Wasn't no Red Sea then, it was only 3 to 4 feet deep. You could walk across, but you still had to watch out for the alligators and the crocodiles and the hippopotamus. So that's why the army accompanied them. And they left with 10. He taught 10 of the 47 negative confessions of Ma'at, which is what y'all call the 10 Commandments. But y'all won't believe that because you're not Judean. You Episcopalian, Muslim, free believers, free thinkers, but you're still suffering the consequences of disbelief. Not following your father and your mother. So, Wida, I got a cousin, first cousin named Wida. Wida is the West African way of saying Yehuda. Means what? Yehuda means Judean. We're Judean people. We're not Jews. We're not Israelis. That's another tribe. We're Judean people. And we were bred from a small number to maybe 15 million over here now. Lost. Still lost. Still lost. I ain't going to Harriet Tubman's home. Hell no. She dead. She can't do nothing for me. I ain't going up to Rochester, New York, to where that old half-breed nigga made that newspaper called the North Star. Frederick. Nah, I don't want nothing to do with that nigga. He was half white. You know, consequences of being in the right place at the right time. If y'all saw what them sisters look like, you'd fall in love all over again 300 years ago. So, you come from the tribe of Judah. Of course, there were a number of other tribes of people who came across, like mine, the Fulbe, the Fulani. When my grandfather's father came, he taught us at the age of 8 and 9, 800 names that he had memorized of our family. Wow. In one area of Georgia, which was called Sandtown, which is now in Newton County, near Jasper County line. It's called Newborn now, but we lived on 2 plantations since 1750. He sailed into the port of Baltimore and went out drinking with the sailors because he was equal. He was a sailor, you know, he was a navigator. And one thing happened though, when they all got drunk, let the white sailors go and ask him for his papers. He was with his boys. He didn't need no papers. Shit. I was good. What do you mean what? I'm with them. They with me, as a matter of fact. I got them here. Yeah, nigga, but you ain't got no papers. He sold them to Georgia. Georgia was a state owned by a Duke of England whose last name was Wright. He owned the whole state of Georgia. Some states, you know, they kept their name, like Alabama Indians, but they killed them all and ran them out, right?
Go for the spot. Yes.
You can't have none of them rednecks, half-breed niggas up in here because they want their shit. They want to live their way. We can't live like that because, we slaughter, we kill, we take. This is manifest destiny. This is ours. And, I'm a quarter white. I'm a quarter Irish. But back to the people that came after Hatshepsut, Akhenaten, who most of us recognize as the founder of monotheism. Akhenaten was not the founder. He was just another step. We just steps in a train. We just cars on a train. The locomotive is Mother Harriet and them. Mm-hmm. That's the power. We just going on her power. She pulling us. And we fight it. He was a drum major. But he didn't know he was going to be a drum major for his mother, for Harriet, for Araminta. It just happened. Because he got tired of fighting and said, I'm going to go with the flow. Same thing happened to me, but I was just younger. Same thing happened. I was a gangster in Detroit. When I got to Nigeria, I was fighting Nigerian boys every day. Calling me Oyinbo, white man, because I was fair complected. Oh, wow. I ain't white. Fought them every day for a year. That's how I got kicked out of school on the university campus, the first university in Nigeria. You get this crazy American nigga out of here. Fighting everybody all day long. I was in a gang. 12 of us would go bun rush the A&P store and steal food, I got 6 younger brothers. Police would come. 6 of us would get away. 6 would get caught on purpose. They get their butts whipped. Get their butts whipped on the way home. Then they come to our little fort and we'd all eat and have a big banquet. We sacrifice each other to eat food. Wow. Wow. I go steal, you get 3 oranges the size of a grapefruit in the market, and I go over there and I steal maybe $100 worth of groceries because I was a thief. And there ain't nobody here in the market because it was closed 4 days a week. It was really, big market was on Saturday. Ain't nobody ever saw me steal nothing. Except when I came back 2 weeks later, everybody going, thief! Him boy thief! Him thief! And the governor general said, this boy in your school is a thief. And he said, we taking this Negro out of, because he going to make all these other kids his gang. He going to make another gang over here, He put me out in a bush school, and every time I did something stupid, I got strapped to a cane and got caned with bamboo. Then after, because I'd been beaten so bad, it's like, come on, dude. You ain't got no knife, you ain't got no gun, you can't threaten me with a stick. That'll heal. So they started playing psychology on me. They took me out and made me water the tennis courts. It's 114 degrees. I got a stick, a bucket of water here, a bucket of water here, and I got to water down the tennis courts for a week. You throw 1 bucket of water on the tennis courts, it blows up in steam before it even touches the court. All day for 7 days. And then I learned to bow down to the elders. I learned to speak Igbo. I learned to speak Yoruba. I got sent on a lot of trips around the country learning what Nigeria was. It wasn't Nigeria. It was 5, 6, 20 different groups of Judean people with different areas owning different resources. You just don't know how powerful you are. You look in the mirror and you keep seeing the things that your oppressors tell you about yourself. It's because you ain't listening to her. You don't sit here and act like you can't hear. You think she's dead. She all up inside you. She's so up inside you, I see her coming out of her right now. That's why I say, don't let nobody wipe your tears. That's your salvation. So Don't never talk about them damn Egyptians, because they ain't no count. They just half white and always right. And you got that group that denies that the pharaohs were black, you know, that they were African, people from Africa below Kemet, you know, they came up and built this society, this civilization, doing things that they cannot even do now. Mm-hmm. How do you raise a 70-ton stone 300 feet in the air?
Come on.
What rope is going to hold that? What team of mules is going to carry that, pull it? How do you get a boat? How do you load a stone 50 miles from a quarry onto a boat and the boat float? Mm-hmm. A reed boat. Mm-hmm. All the way up to where they're building these monuments. Now, if the pyramids was a tomb, they would have built it in the Valley of the Kings. Mm-hmm. So all the pharaohs and the pharaohs' doctors and the ruling families are buried in the Valley of the Kings, with one exception, Zoser. Everything that you see in a medical laboratory, from all of the surgical instruments to anesthesia, was practiced by Zoser and Imhotep. Now they're healing people with the things that our ancient ancestors healed people with thousands of years ago. Energy, frequency, vibration, all the things that Tesla found that they kept hidden and are now their weapons of control, mass control. So I'm going to share just a couple things, and one is a question. Now that you know that you're not African, you're American, and that there's no such place on earth named African. It's only Alkebulan and Kemet. There's a brother who, you see, we just keep coming back, picking up new bodies. You know, he's got a computer. He doesn't know that everything that man makes is made out of his mind and his body and his spirit. But he can download something from the internet. But you can't do that by walking around, right? But a man can see an oak leaf, a single lobe leaf with a belly of a lobe on it, twirled down from an oak tree, and sometime back there in the 14th, before the 14th century come, build a helicopter that got 3 feet off the ground. And in 700 years, more than 700 years later, a guy named a Russian named Sikorsky took the same vision, had the same vision, saw this damn oak leaf floating down. I could make some wings do that, but now I got motors. I can make the wings change and levitate. Goddamn thing flew. It's called a helicopter. There's nothing existed today that is not made out of somebody's mind as intuition and perception. And you talk about Tesla. Tesla's just a white boy that got your shit. And he's like, don't let these Negroes find out that we took their religion. And their religion is just a structured curriculum.
That's good.
That's all it is. It's a book written. It's a structured curriculum. You here because you wouldn't follow the structured curriculum. But some of y'all came and you brought the spirit. Some of y'all wasn't fully rebellious. Some of y'all just said, I ain't going with the structured curriculum, but I'm still in the spirit. So what we gonna do with that? Well, we gonna do that because that's what the priest did. So when the Kemetic elders left coming west, and they settled in Ile-Ife, and they settled in other parts of Yoruba land, you know, and the Oduduwa, the first pharaoh of the Western Sudan, came and established the deities. The brother was asking me, what are these things over here on this wall? They're the Necheru. Necher is the word nature. They're the forces of nature embodied in humanity, in men. But if you don't believe that they're forces in nature, that you and nature are the same thing, then you get this Cartesian mentality that body, mind, and spirit are different. But all knowledge that ever existed or ever will exist is already imprinted in you. But you won't flip the switch. I ain't gonna go visit Harriet Tubman. She dead. But damn, how was she born? How did she get it? How did she pass it on to him? How is he passing it on to you? He could be making money as an actor and how he ain't got to be here. Why is he wasting his time doing this? How many thousands and thousands of dollars has he poured into this out of his heart? Man, he could be living in a big house. Got to let the material side go for a while and build on the spiritual side. You gonna make enough to eat, to sleep, pay your rent, get your transportation, but study, practice the spiritual side. I mean, I grew up as a boy in Nigeria. I go out at 11 o'clock at night. My mother would just be screaming, having epileptic seizures and shit, and I'd be walking through the bush. It'd be black as coal, and I had no idea what I was walking through, but I'd follow in the drums. And I took a flashlight. The servant gave me a torch and said, "Here, you need this. You walking through the bush." I said, "How you know I'm walking through the bush?" He said, "I know you're walking through the bush. Take a torch. That's a flashlight." Well, who told him I'm walking through the bush today? Shit. He lived down in the service quarters, some goddamn slave, Emo Negro, How you know about me? But he used to walk 37 miles in one direction, 72 miles in 2 days to Enugu back to Nsukka, but he was an Igbo warrior. And I was just a punk from Detroit. I go out there, I got the torch on, I'm looking at the footpath, and damn if it ain't scorpions and snakes and shit. And of course, what I wasn't thinking, I wasn't afraid. I was like, I'm part of nature. I can walk through this. but somehow my mother knew it's shit out there that's gonna kill you.
Yeah, that's right.
Babies and fools, right? Alcoholics, addicts, and babies, So I saw a ceremony one time. Several ceremonies, many times. I saw a man, they built a pyre of fire and logs, They didn't have railroad cross ties. They just had logs on fire, and about 6 feet tall. He walked up, sat on top, picked up a branch, and washing himself with the branch on fire. Lady gave him a baby, took the baby, washed the baby with the same branch that was on fire. Gave the baby back. The baby was initiated to Shango. That's called a necheru. That's where it didn't just came from there. We brought it from there to Nigeria, as it's called today, which was named by a white woman. Just like Iraq, Syria, all that was named by a white. You know how they do their white women. Give me some credit, baby. Name these countries for me. That's not who it is or what it was. And it came all the way over here. How did a woman lead 3,000 people to fight the British and move them up into the mountains in Jamaica and defend the mountains without Ogun being with her, without her being Ogun? I saw a man take a butcher knife, plunge it into his body and pull it out and not bleed. That was the last time I went to church.
Okay.
If y'all can't teach me this, I don't want to know it. So when the Nigerians stopped calling me Oyinbo, white man, it wasn't because I was, fighting them every day. it was because I took 10 kids, I got the same crew of 10 kids from India, from Nigeria, from Sierra Leone, kids that was in school that I was kicked out of, that were still my friends even though I was kicked out, but I would take them on hikes. I took them out 10 miles into the bush and walked back later that evening. We went down 300 feet from the roadbed, and you got the trees, right? Can you imagine a 300-foot tall tree other than a sequoia? You know, you walking down in the tree, looking up at the tree. Now up here, the tree is like 20 feet above you. Down there, it's like, oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. You walking down this terrace, and there's a cistern that gathers water, and women are down there washing their clothes, and they see me coming with all these chocolate and brown and black children, and they see me looking like her, you know. Oyinbo, Oyinbo! They start dancing around me, Oyinbo, Oyinbo. All these beautiful young sisters, man. I'm like, why don't you give me some Oyinbo? I'm like, oh, no, you Oyinbo. We ain't messing with can't touch no Oyinbo. And it broke me down. I was crying and stuff. An old woman walked up. She's in her 80s. Of course, they don't wear no top, you know. And her breasts were all the way down to her waist. She came walking over toward me. I was like, oh, shit, I'm in trouble now. Oh, you know. And she grabbed me, pulled me over to the cistern, sat and laid me across her lap and told me in Igbo, you are not Oyinbo. You are one of our children who was stolen. You have come back home. When you come here, you have come back home. Come back home. You contribute, you are paying for a slave to come back home. A child downstairs, they're home.
That's right.
Ain't no white people with guns. Ain't nobody shooting up in here. They're home. You have a home. You don't see no mass choir. Oh, the Georgia mass choir. The Mississippi Blind Boys. You just don't know what you got. And you know I so feel y'all up in here? Because everybody else out there is trying to steal 3 oranges that only cost a penny and think they ain't being seen. Thief, thief, thief. And just to prove that y'all ain't from Kemet, Nubia, Somalia, right? I done told you that you walked across the desert to get here, running away, fleeing the Romans, fleeing the Greeks whom you taught. The first Greek allowed into Kemet was a man whose formula was just solved trigonometrically by 2 black girls.
Yeah.
2,000 years? Wow. Ain't no white man come up and done that trigonometrically. 2 black girls, teenagers, 14 years old. Pythagorean theorem. Pythagorean ain't got no damn theorem. He stole that. How did Archimedes come up with the law of flotation when there's no criteria for a Sicilian on an island to float anything? Ain't no rivers in Sicily. The laws of flotation were garnered by studying the ebb and flow, the tide rising, the Nile River. They built what's called the Nilometer. They dug a hole on the side of the Nile the same depth as the river. Then they cut an opening. Then they watched the water level rise and fall, and then they recorded it with the movement of the stars in the sun. But y'all don't go outside at night and look at where you come from. I'm from here. What you got? Yeah, I got a Lincoln. I got headlights. Where you going? I'm going to the party. Where at? At the club. What you gonna do before you get there? I'm gonna get high. What you gonna do when you get there? I'm gonna drink. How you gonna leave? With a hoe.
You better talk, Omar. You better keep that real. You better keep that real.
You ain't gonna look up there. You're not gonna look up there. You ain't gonna walk barefoot on the ground no more. You got shoes. That's why you sick. Because every time you walk barefoot, if you stand outside in the grass for 10 minutes, your body's filled with electrons which coat around your red blood cells, which keep the red blood cells from clumping together and you don't get blood clots. Shit, y'all want blood clots. You don't listen to your ancestors. She too old, she dead. She don't talk to you because you don't listen. Ain't that what they told you a long time ago? You got a hard head, boy. You gonna have a soft, tender ass because you don't listen to me. I'm your grandmother. They've been telling you. I meant to been telling you all along. If we had stopped doing half the shit we did when we was in our 20s, we'd be a whole lot different kind of man. We struggling. We just doing what we can do. We repaying a debt that they lived and died for. I know y'all ain't from Egypt. Y'all from Kemet, Nubia, Somalia, Ethiopia. If you ever get this map blown up, you see that everything from the top of the slave coast, everything above it, going east is called Ethiopia. 1747, 1347, 1311, Mansa Musa's older brother took a flotilla of 1,000 ships and sailed, like all the good Fula and Mandinka people sailed over to this continent, intermarried with all of the indigenous people along the East Coast. Before that, another group had sailed over here and landed in South America and Central America. And they built these huge heads to remind you that they had been here, 1,000 years longer before you ever even were thought about being born. They look like this brother sitting in the back, if you look at his head, that great big round face. Of course, they call that the old Meg, but y'all niggas, that's what you call each other, right? Yo, my nigga. Yo, my old Meg. But you ain't gonna look at the stars. You ain't gonna, because that's the clock. That's the, how many of y'all got electric watches on your wrist? You gotta plug them in. Damn, you got a watch you gotta charge in order to use it.
How about it?
You gotta pay to charge your watch to use it, like these damn cars. Right? But the clock's turning. 25,000 year cycle. Sidereal time. Clock's turning. But you don't know where you came from. You don't know where you came. You don't know how you descended. I'm sorry. There's something I'm going to leave here. And I'm a scientist. I'm a linguist, predominantly. I'm just going to go through 40 quick words that were from ancient Kemet that are in the Yoruba language. There are 5,000 words from ancient Kemet in the Yoruba language, also in Igbo. Also the Orisha are the what? What's the Orisha in Kemet called? I already said it. See, y'all would have flunked out. The priest would have kicked your ass out of class so fast because you didn't even remember it. Necheru. Necheru. Necher is power of nature. If the power of nature is in you, you don't have to build big biceps. You don't have to be a slave to lift an iron all the time. You pull energy from what you don't look at into your body. And you are energized by the same forces that energize the sun, the planets that move around you. But y'all don't believe in none of this stuff. That's that old time shit. You educated Negroes. You got degrees. You got cars. You ain't never had to walk behind a wagon. 40 words. Everybody say it. Woo. Woo means to rise.
To rise.
In Kemetic and in Yoruba. Because y'all don't never use that word, rise, right? Wasn't no great poets that ever used that term. And still we
Rise.
Nah, and still we woo.
Still we woo.
Woo, woo, woo.
Can you woo, woo, woo?
Can you rise?
Can you woo? Can you rise? How about that?
Yeah. No, don't ask no old brother if he can rise or not. You
Right,
might
there
get
you
in
go.
trouble. Osa.
Osa.
Osiris.
Osiris.
Osa.
Osa.
And Yoruba means father. Ere
Ere.
means python or serpent. Of course, you know the python is a deity in what? Vodun? Voodoo. You ever don't go down there in New Orleans talk about Marie Laveau. They kept pythons, right? Snake changes its skin, doesn't it? Sheds it. Why? Can't grow unless you shed your skin.
Come on now.
What you shed, what you drop off, what you leave behind that's dead that you don't need no more. Huh? Caterpillar crawl into a chrysalis and weave a thing around him and he disappears and he comes out a butterfly. But what happened to the creature that walked in? He's dead. He's risen. Woo!
Ooh.
Rise.
Ooh.
Osar, Asaru,
Asaru.
was murdered by Set, buried beneath the Nile River, wrapped up in linen. Then Set cut him up into 13 pieces. His wife kept the best piece,
There it
the
is.
woo. They took his body and spread it on 13 regions of the continent of Africa. And everywhere they sent a piece, a shrine rose. This is one of them. This is one of them. The ancient shrines are still here. Ere is Python. Horise,
Horise.
one God. Orise,
Orise.
Yoruba for great God. Sin,
Sin.
group of worshipers. Sin
Sin.
in Yoruba means to worship. Red means to chant. Happy birthday to you. A little bald head boy lived around the corner from me, taught me how to play harmonica. Red,
Red.
Yoruba chant. Ta,
Ta.
to sell. Ta,
Ta.
Yoruba, to sell.
To sell.
On, a living person.
A living person.
That's Kemet. One,
One.
a living person. That's Yoruba. But y'all, y'all don't give a shit. Kum, a club. Kumo,
Kumo.
a club in Yoruba. Not a nightclub. Club you hit a muzungo over the head with. I'm not going to read any more of these because I brought a list of 100. But there are over 5,000 words in common. And I tell people, study Arabic. Why? Because Arabic and who you are, Judean, are brother and sister languages of the same root, which is the Kemetic root. Every language from Kemet all the way down to Somalia, then Kiswahili, Kirundi, Kibakongo, they're all the same language family. They're all the same language family. But y'all don't want to study about them damn Egyptians because they half white. And they be telling you that ain't no such thing as a black pharaoh. How was that dude's name? Hasi Hawass, or Zahi Hawass, the guy, the head of antiquities of Egypt. No black pharaohs. Egypt was not even part of Africa. You know, that's self-hatred. So, if you don't know who you are, you have to believe that they do. And the only thing they have to do is keep you from knowing who you are. Because once you know who you are, it'll never be the same. You will walk 500 miles a month to free a child. So y'all be talking about Tesla and Tesla's 369 configuration. Everything in the universe is frequency, energy, and vibration. Of course, y'all ain't heard about the brother in Zimbabwe, Maxwell Chikumbutso. Maxwell Chikumbutso. Maxwell Chikumbutso. Maxwell Chikumbutso. Had to drop out of school at the age of 14. Finally made it through school, got accepted to engineering program. Had to drop out of engineering because he didn't have the money to go. Had to take care of his family. Chikumbutso started having dreams. Went into his parts supply house, scavenged parts from different universities. He made a car that runs off the frequency of the earth, 7.86 cycles per second. He made a converter that converts frequency energy into electricity, stores it in a battery, but the damn car doesn't need a battery. Doesn't have to be plugged in because it's around you all the time. It's in you right now. But you know what? You can't feel it unless you do this. You know, when y'all was doing this in the service, do this. Stand up and do this for a second. Just push your hands back and forth about 3 inches. 3 inches back and forth. Now you tell me when you start to feel a tingling in your palm. You tell me when you start to feel something in your hand. What it feels like wind almost. You know what you're feeling? You're on the second floor of a house. That's 4 cubic meters above the surface of the earth. You're standing in 500 volts of celestial energy right now. Of course, you don't store it in your body because, you know, we always want to woo. You know, we all want to go to the club. We think we rise by going to the club. We rise by lifting the spirit up to the heavens. That's how we rise, right? That's how we rise. When they cut your child, or they rape your daughter, and they cut your grandmother's breasts off, and then they rape her, they turn her breasts into a tobacco pouch. You got to rise above it. When they kill the black kids in your neighborhood or at the school, or they lock up black men, you got to rise above it. You got to woo. But that's the rising that we're talking about. The feeling that you feel in your hands and fingers right now is the energy that's all around you and inside you circulating. You finally starting to feel it. Now imagine how much energy Araminta Harriet Tubman had. Imagine how much energy the Queen Mother Carr had. All these old women that they did stuff that you would have stopped after an hour. They never stop. They never stop. Your position right now, this is an ancient Kemetic position for bringing the energy in. This is how we rise. And you'll see it on that graph over there, the picture of Aseru. This represents the Ka and the Ba, the spiritual body, not the physical body. You change your physical body when it wears out for another one. They plant the physical body in the ground. Your spiritual body goes up to be with your ancestors. And then when you're dumb enough to figure out that you want to come back and get some more, then they'll download your ass one more time. Put your hands down. Put your hands down.
Yes.
So, just so y'all be ready for shit that's dropping off, you stand up and read that, okay?
Tony, pass that mic to Sister Shauna so we can hear it at home too. Thank you.
According to Michio and Eveline Kushi, in his book, Macrobiotic Diet, Michio Kushi states, at the time of the atomic bombing of Nagasaki in 1945, Tatsuchiro Akisuki, MD, was director of the Department of Internal Medicine at St. Francis Hospital in Nagasaki. Most patients in the hospital, located 1 mile from the center of the blast, survived the initial effects of the bomb, but soon after came down with symptoms of radiation sickness from the radioactivity that had been released. Dr. Akisuki fed his staff and patients a strict macrobiotic diet of brown rice, miso, tamari soy sauce soup, wakame, and other sea vegetables. Hokkaido, pumpkin, and sea salt, and prohibited the consumption of sugar and sweets. As a result, he saved everyone in his hospital, while many other survivors in the city perished from the radiation sickness.
It is by lack of knowledge that we perish. We don't have time anymore. We don't have no time for playing. Brother Maxwell Chikumbutso, in addition to inventing a car that runs off energy frequencies, invented a television, full color, 50-inch if you want one, that runs off frequency energy. You don't have to plug it into a wall, but you get all the signals. You can watch every station in the world if you want to. He built a transformer, transforms energy, same resonant frequency energy, 7.86 hertz, and it's powerful enough to run 10 houses at full electrical load with one transformer. 10 houses, air conditioning on, drop the air to 60 on all 10 houses. Open the refrigerator door, the freezer, leave it wide open. Play your stereo, turn all the lights on. System's like, yeah, I can take some more. Right? He also invented a 5-fuel helicopter that runs off 5 different fuels, including the electromagnetic frequency of the Earth. The 7.86 hertz frequency exists between the ionosphere, which is 60 miles up, and the surface of the Earth. Everything in that is now filled with communications frequency as well, which is microwave energy. So very few of us have ever lived, and your children will never know what a natural energetic frequency of the Earth feels like. They'll never know, because it's all bathed in electronic frequency, but the 7.8 frequency is still there. Most important thing to remember is that 7.86 cycles per second is the frequency of what they call the alpha wave, the alpha brain wave. 8 cycles per second is the alpha theta brainwave margin, which he put you in. He induced you into that frequency. When you were standing up holding your arms like this and he was talking, he was telling you, calm down, let your spirit flow. That's the alpha theta margin. That's the frequency energy that a brother or a sister has to go into in order to induce physiological phenomena that's inconsistent with the white man's reality. In other words, how do you stab yourself with a knife or cut a finger off and let it regenerate? Well, your body has to be immersed in that frequency. How do you do that frequency? Well, you know it. That's called knowing. It's called knowing. I've seen men have their brains cut wide open in the bush in Zimbabwe with a man just using a saw. Cut the skull off. Go in, using tweezers or whatever else he has and pull the tumor out. Reattach the skull, wrap it with banana leaf and oil. Guy walks off to put a turban on him, he walks away. He didn't have any anesthesia at all. You know what happened? The healer sang to him. It induced a frequency. He never felt any pain.
Come on, man. Come on.
But,
Come on.
you know, acupuncture, 12,000 BC. Yeah, of course, y'all don't want to go back to Egypt. Kemet. Egypt is the Greek name for Kemet. Egypt, there was no such places known as Egypt until about 400 BC. Athens was a Kemetic outpost in southern Asia. The Middle East is northeast Africa. It's all on the African, the El Kibulan tectonic plate. Continents are determined by what plate they're sliding on. Middle East is African plate. All that was owned by our ancestors. All those people were black at one time. All white people were black at one time. You got to know. Now, it's the last thing I'm going to say. And forgive me if I've gone over. But
You're going exactly where you're supposed to go, Doctor.
okay. Forgive me.
The food's in the warmer. We're going to have a good time.
But you don't look at the stars anymore. You don't look at where you came from. You are made of the same four fundamental elements. The same four fundamental elements that make up the sun. In other words, with your melanin, which is carbon, you resonate with the sun. You resonate with the sun. Carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen, oxygen are the four fundamental elements. Everywhere there's emptiness in space is filled with those four fundamental elements.
That's right.
You don't come from here.
That's right.
You came here. You came here from the creation of the universe, what most people call God. The whole range of frequency energy. You're pure energy. And in order to move about in a terrestrial environment, you chose to look like this, evolve into this configuration. But you came out of the water. But there's a group of people in West Africa called the Dogon. 7,000 years ago, they came up with this cosmology, 7,000 years ago. And they finally told some outsiders what the cosmology was. They told the French in the 18th century when the French was shooting up everybody. Of course, they couldn't go inland until they found a remedy for malaria. When they came up with quinine, they could penetrate the interior. So they told them that all humanity descends from a group of people who came from the Sirius A and Sirius B star complex. And so the French asked them, where was it? And they gave them the precise location in space. Up there. And everybody said, ain't no way. That's Aretha. Ain't no way. 300 years, ain't no way. Then they finally put the Hubble telescope up there, and they found Sirius A and Sirius B exactly where these people told them it was.
That's right. That's right.
How do your ancestors, how do they see thousands of light years away? How do they feel the perturbation of celestial bodies that are moving 1,000 light years off in the distance? How do they bring that oak leaf down and make it a helicopter? So when you decide to be who you are and you pick the covenant back up, then you're free of this society. Now, all of our bodies are going to die in it because they run the world now. Nigeria, Africa, it's all contaminated. It's everywhere. But they're being overthrown economically. And so in another 100 years, this will just be another third world European nation like England, you know. But if you don't look up, if you don't study, if you don't understand, you can't teach. So if you don't go to where she is and pay homage, if you don't go to the burial site of Araminta, it's just some things you ain't gonna never feel. Because it's all what you feel and hear. I don't have to see a picture to break down crying. And I'm not crying because she's gone.
That's right.
I'm crying because she ain't gone nowhere.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And she's still teaching him.
Yes, sir. Every day. Every day.
So talk to your ancestors. You know, pouring libation is, I mean, if you pour libation, he can pour libation a lot of different ways.
Mm-hmm.
He can take you there. But pouring libation is what comes out of here.
Come on, man. Come on. Come on, Baba.
Don't be ashamed. What you gonna do when one of your children dies in your arms? You doing what you got to do, and a grandchild gets shot. You're gonna cry. You're gonna mourn. Oh, it did. You got to bury my grandbaby. Oh, somebody give me a GoFundMe and let me raise some money because I ain't got the money to bury my own baby. Oh Lord, you know. My baby's dead, my baby's dead, my mama's dead, my grandmama. Where does that shit come from? Who told you that? Who told you that? It doesn't matter if they throw my corpse in a lion's cage and let that fool eat me. It doesn't matter. Because this ain't me.
That's right. That's right.
This ain't me. I'm Oyinbo. I'm that white boy that they call. All right? So I would just, I'm not going to beg, but I would beg that you support this brother because he is your brother. And he's on the right path. You may not see me a lot. I got 8 grandchildren, 6 biological children, 3 I've adopted, and elders that I'm responsible to. My mother's 94 years of age. I drive to Detroit every month to be with her. You know. My family, both sides were raging alcoholics. Their father, my grandfather, they died multimillionaires. But their generation couldn't keep it together. They couldn't observe the covenant. They didn't keep the covenant. So they gave their wealth to the descendants of their youngest sister who died when she was 24. They owned the largest sawmill in Standing Grove of Oak in Georgia, in Jasper County, at the end of the 19th century. The only truck was owned by a black man. 1,000 workers he hired. All the foremen he had to make white. But the black people, he would take more money than them because why? They kept their mouth shut. He would make sure that they had more food, money, clothes when it got cold. White people just paid them the money and let them go. What you do among yourselves is for yourselves. But of course you want to eat at the table with that man that's taken thousands of years from you. Being among and with your own doesn't mean that you hate. Because if you follow the stars, everything is a cycle. It's a cycle. Flow with the cycle, know what it is, but take care of your own, but fill this place up with people. Y'all got something that's is so necessary and so needed. Talked to 30 HBCU and majority school Africana programs. Not one of them would start a school. You got all these students that they're teaching all about Africa.
Yeah.
They asking me to come up and teach this, teach that. How do you do this? How do you set up a business? I go do that. But not one of them would start a school, a public school, a private school. Why? Because they would lose their funding. Because they broke the covenant. It's not about what you get from that man in terms of money. It's what you pay from your heart. You're going to die. Start a school for them babies downstairs. That's the only way that they're not going to be polluted. You don't want them to lose the covenant? Start your own Akiva school. You Hebrews, you Yahudis, right? Don't tell nobody that you're from Egypt now. That you're from ancient Egypt, ran from them damn Romans and Greeks and settled in West Africa, had your own kingdoms, multiple. Tokolor, Fulbe, Fulani, Judah. My last name is Jutte. Jutte is my ancestor's name. My grandfather gave us the names of 800 people buried in the same cemetery in Georgia that he came from. Our last name is Jutte. Jutte means Judah. It's the same thing. So I could be at home eating. I can go treat some rich white people and make $1,000 today. But if he calls me, and I don't care what it's for, it ain't him that's calling me.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
I'm empty. I ain't empty, but I'm stopping. I don't want him to call me no more. I want to come and somebody, one of y'all tell me what's up there. Tell me what you see. You tell me when you studied the Dogon. You tell me how you built the pyramid. You tell me how you walked across the desert. Tell me how you populated the rest of the world. And then tell me why you lost it and what you're willing to do to get it back. You got to give it away.
Gosh, y'all join me in an initial round of applause for Baba Umaru Jutte. Yeah, we can do the standing right now. We're going to stand for you, brother. We're standing on her, brother. Those are here, those at home. There's a mic in the back. And if you have, before we get to comments, because I know we could talk all day, but if you have a specific question that you want to ask of our elder here, please make your way to the microphone back there in the back so that we can turn that on. And we can leave it on the stand. And you can put it there, leave it to the side right there, Tony. It's perfect. Ask your question. I'm going to ask a question first just to get things started, Baba, because, first off, I just want to say publicly, and I've said it, but I cannot thank you enough on behalf of the spirit world and what we perceive to be the physical world for you showing up authentically for who you were born to be in this manifestation of life. Because you have shown up, and you have shown up immensely. You've shown up big. You've shown up more than so many people. And I just need to communicate my gratitude. I told somebody, they were like, well, who is the brother? I said, this is a brother that saved my life when I was in my 20s. And I was a young father moving out of a relationship that wasn't working. And I didn't have anybody to go to. But I came to you. And what you told me, which, is still mouth to ear to this day, but the advice and advisement that you gave me kept me from being broken. And the spaces that were broken got put back together. So, you know, man, again, libation to you and your calling for being here. I'm going to cheat and use a tissue. But I just want to say thank you for that. And anything that exists in this place is a result of lineage. I think everybody, we have to understand what lineage is. And lineage is you are standing on the shoulders of those who came before. So anything that's manifested in this space isn't just because I had some great ideas. It's because that calling was coming from these spaces. That calling was coming from those spaces, going back to the spaces that created these spaces. All of these things contributed. So spiritual lineage is important. It's why we build this community. It's why we have these children downstairs. It's why we do our programs in the summer. It's because once we get this wisdom, this spiritual knowledge, we have to do something with it. We owe it to our future generations to one day live the kind of life and create the kind of institutional memory that will make it so that one day when we're no longer here in the body, somebody's going to pour some water and call our names and remember us fondly. That's the work we're doing. And it's beyond just the conversations and the lectures and the speeches. There's a lot of that going on right now, even in the state. But it's what do you do with that energy to give people hope, to give people completion, and to complete that circle. That's what we hear. We're going to eat in a few minutes, Baba. And so there'll be plenty of time for people to interact and stuff you full of food and stuff themselves. We got plenty of that out there. I've just got a curious question. It may sound like spirit life trivia. You had so many amazing spiritual experiences and energetic experiences, and we've shared them over the years. I've heard of them, and again, there were times when you talked about the operation there in the field there in the brush. It's just these astounding moments of manifestation and culture. What is the most transformative, shocking, amazing, spiritual or energetic thing that happened that you've seen in your life that you could recall, and how did it change you? And take your time, because I know you got probably 300 of those.
That's the one that's closest to my heart. I delivered 3 of my children before I became a nurse, educated in nursing school. And the first one I delivered before I left for Egypt in '73. And we were at a Jewish hospital, not Judean, Jewish hospital, good service. And the gynecologist was a guy, and I told him, I said, I'm gonna deliver this boy. And he said, how you know it's a boy? I said, I know it's a boy. And he said, well, are you a doctor? I said, I'm not a doctor, I'm a man. He said, well, you can't deliver him because we don't let men deliver babies. You got to be a doctor. I said, no, you can go talk to whoever you want to talk to. I'm going to deliver him. I put him in there. I'm taking him out. So I went through that 2 times for him and one of my second daughter. My third daughter, my number 3 brother graduated from Meharry. He's deceased. And but I knew all his friends, his peer groups, a lot of doctors. A doctor that he went to Meharry with was probably the top OB-GYN in the nation. Her name was Dr. Ladson, Gwyneth Ladson. She and her husband were in the same class as my brother. And we lost Gwyneth to cancer a couple years ago. But my number 2 daughter, who I delivered in Detroit, she and her husband flew from Dubai, where they were living and working, to give birth here at Meharry. And she's 9 years old now. The youngest one I delivered at Meharry, and I knew the surgical residents, I knew the doctor, Dr. Smart, and they let me do the delivery, and it was C-section, so she did the incision for the C-section. I took the tongs, pulled her out, and they closed her up. I lifted her up so the blood could flow from the umbilical back into her, and or lowered her so the cord blood and the cells could move, migrate to my daughter, and then clamped it, cut it both sides, sewed up both sides. And then I did my Kunta Kinte thing. I took her and I lifted her up, and I'm in the OR. I said, "Behold the only thing greater than yourself." And my scrubs fell off. I didn't have on no underwear. So the circulating nurse came over and snatched my baby from me. She said, "If you don't get your Kunta Kinte ass out of the OR." So for the next like 7 or 8 years, all the OB residents and students heard about that, and then when they would see me walking through my area, they would, would say, the only thing greater than yourself. So don't be afraid to take a fall. Just stand up after you fall. That's all.
That's great. That's a great memory. All right, so don't miss this opportunity to ask your question. Go ahead and go to the mic. And we ask them to keep them succinct so we can get more questions. And I've got 1 or 2 coming in online. Chat in the chat box if you're online. Go ahead and type your question now, and we'll get them right to Baba. Go ahead.
So much gratitude to you. I was blessed to grow up with 3 grandparents. All 3 born between 1910 and 1915. However, we heard stories, but they really didn't educate us on these things. My grandmother in particular, on my mother's side, I believe she could see spirits and things, not in a frightful manner, but she was very reserved and she didn't share it. And so for me now, this exposure only comes to me through Jeff. I've known Jeff most of my life. And I do want to learn because I'm blessed to be a grandmother, a mother and a grandmother now. But sometimes it gets frustrating for me because I don't know where to, I feel like I don't know where to begin. I'm an assignment person. It just doesn't come to me like, oh, read this. So many times I reach out to Jeff and ask for his guidance because I don't know this. I don't have that curiosity that sparked to, oh, read this. So how can I learn? How can I learn and receive it if I kind of am not even in a space of knowing that this truly exists and is connected to me?
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you.
In most cases, the elders didn't tell us about things that happened in their lifespan because of the horrific nature of the things. If you've never seen a guy shot in the head, if you've never seen a woman's breast cut off, if you've never seen a woman cut open, hung till she was dead, and they stick a Bowie knife in her throat, drag it all the way down, open her up, the baby falls out. They take the baby, cut the cord, she's hemorrhaging, the baby's hemorrhaging, then they stomp the baby to death. That was an everyday issue. That is the horrific nature of us not keeping our covenant. And we still haven't learned. And instead of them they don't have to drag the babies out no more. We're killing each other. That's the consequence of not following our covenant. And God is the universe. It's all knowledge and consciousness in the universe. So you all have all knowledge and consciousness of the universe is already inside you. But you cut the cord. You know, you watch television. You get, it's called programming. You go to school.
That's right.
You cut the cord. You get programmed. You get a master's degree. Oh, you get the cut. You cut the cord. Oh, you go to divinity school. Oh shit, you really cut the cord. Because they took all of the conjuman, all the obia practitioners, the last of whom probably died out in the 1910s, 1915s. You don't go to North Alabama. You haven't been to Cujo Lewis's grave. You haven't been to the site where the last slave ship come in. They don't want you to see those kind of things, because now all those villages that were all African villages in this country, they built industries around them which induce carcinogenic pollution. So you go down to Africa Town in Alabama now, and it's gone. It's maybe out of what used to be 3,000 houses, there may be people living in 30. Why? Because it's all polluted. Chemically polluted, air pollution, cement factories, cement floating in the air. That's the same stuff that the firefighters died from at 9/11. They were breathing, when the buildings collapsed, that cloud, that's cement dust and human material, all ground up that they're breathing and working in. That's why they're dead. So that's what they did to Africa Town. You know, the same thing across the bayou from Africa Town, where all the quilters are. You know, there used to be hundreds of women quilting there. Now it's only one quilting house with 3 women. Why? Kill them off. You know, if you think that you have something that will cause you to die, and you don't go to every extent possible to get it cured, whose responsibility is your death? It's your own. Have you been to Harriet Tubman's home and grave? Hello? Been to Mother Carr's home and grave? Huh? You been to the last plantation up in Gallatin? They got a whole field. The last plantation was 700 acres all on the lakefront. Every one of those lots sold for 1.2 million. From the cheapest lot was 400,000. Average 1.2 million. 72 on one side. In the middle, where Isaac Franklin's grave crypt used to be, above his crypt is the sun, the solar disk, and the wings of an angel, the Kemetic emblem. Of course, he paid for the church on the corner of 5th and Church Street, but y'all ain't been there. That's not a church, it's an Egyptian temple. It's a Kemetic temple. Because the planters thought of themselves as Egyptians, and they thought of you as what you really are.
Good point.
You're the slaves. You've been carried off 3 times. You were carried off to the Assyrians at the time of Nebuchadnezzar. And they say the Egyptians, the Kemetic people, hated the Jews. But the Pharaoh sent an army to rescue the Judean people from Nebuchadnezzar and the Assyrians. How is that hatred? Those are his brothers. Their offspring. Their descendants. So you have to take less TV time.
That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. All right. Brother Sadler, you got a question?
Yes,
Go ahead.
sir. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here.
And speaking to that mic so I can hear you at home too.
Thank you,
That's
Baba,
yes.
for being here. Thank you, Rev. Jeff, for having infinity here. The question, I had another question, but it's a rabbit hole question. I won't do that one.
Do the rabbit hole. Do the rabbit hole.
Well, let me just ask you this one. Reconnecting the cord. My experience to Uganda, I think I reconnected the cord because I remember when I got out the plane, I did just as you did. I didn't know why, but I kissed the ground when I got out the plane. And it seemed like something happened. I can't explain the experience, but it seemed like a lot of the things that was in me started to come before my eyes, and I've been searching ever since. connecting dots. How do we reconnect the cord without going to the continent and experiencing that? That makes sense?
Yes, that's a good question.
Great question.
The continent is here. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, dirt to dirt. You are the dirt. You brought the continent with you. You're the living continent. All the memories going back to the beginning of time are already in you. Of course, they sent you to a seminary school, didn't they? See, they took it from you. You know, but you go down in Alabama, you go down into G's Bend, and you talk to one of them old brothers whose face is all wrinkled, his skin is black, it looks like leather, and he's just sitting there watching everybody go by, and you say, well, why should I be here? And he'll look up at you and laugh and says, if you don't know that, I can't tell you. You know? Yes, that's your pilgrimage. But you start out making pilgrimages to places because these are the German word Gestalt. You go find your Timken, you go find your obelisk, and you start there. Because you can't make the internal journey until you start making the external journey. Mm-hmm. You can't figure out why Washington, D.C. is a Masonic design on a Masonic lodge, and why a black man who studied the stars designed the city of Washington, D.C. in 10 square miles along the Masonic order, but he wasn't a Mason. They wouldn't let him. Mm-hmm. How did he know how to do it? How did he make a watch that he hand carved from wood that kept perfect time for 60 years? Mm. How did he write an almanac that was better than Benjamin Franklin's almanac? Mm. You have to go see. How did Benjamin Franklin and Adams go to a treaty in Albany, New York, with a bunch of savages, as they call them, and then they find out that the savages had a constitution? That they all met, the king, the chiefs all met at the tree of the great peace, which still stands, but you ain't been there. You're not willing to go. Her mother made it through the Haudenosaunee territory under the guidance of Mohawks, Seneca, Onondaga, people who guided her and protected her life.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
When the white man, the boat captain, said, we're not going to take your little scraggly, nasty group of 30 people across Lake Erie because a storm's coming. The storm starts coming, she holds her hands up and starts praying, the storm stops. He takes the group across because he's scared shitless now. As soon as they dock up, steamship that's 20 miles behind them out in the lake goes under. What's the difference between that and stabbing yourself with a knife and not bleeding? A miracle is a miracle, but a miracle is normative among our people. This is a miracle.
That's good. That's good.
This is a miracle.
Yeah, miracle is normative.
But you won't see it as that. We just 12 people sitting up in here by ourselves with maybe a few at home watching on TV, but they ain't here. How people in Detroit dug a 10-mile long underground tunnel like the Viet Cong from First Baptist Church, which is now in Greektown, which is the oldest Black Baptist church in Detroit, all the way to the Detroit River, underground. And it was the last terminal on the Detroit Underground Railroad. How did they do that? With lanterns and pitchforks. How did they brace a tunnel to get slaves safely across to Amherstburg, Ontario, which is half black? Of course, they intermarried with the Canadians, so now they look, they look like her. They look like her. They look like me. They look Oyinbo. They look like her. Don't confuse. Don't be confused. Don't hate white people. Pray for them, because they lost. You got the gold, don't mean you're going to be able to spend it.
Well, I'm gonna let me take one or two offline there, Baba, because we got some coming in, and I can see over here on my feed here on the phone. First off, we've got two from Sister Lakeisha Thomas. One is, when you said we need to build on the spiritual side and let go of the material side, What are the readings and practices you'd recommend for guidance as I move into the spiritual path away from just religion?
You're, we are walking among the undead. All the people that you have buried, that you think are dead, that you go back and you say your prayers there, but your elder is not in that box. Your elder is standing on your shoulder talking about, sitting on your shoulder talking about, why you come out here pouring water, leaving bananas and grapes on the ground, and I can't eat them.
Yeah.
You should have left that at home for your babies, fool.
Yes.
You know, she ain't there. He's inside of you already. But who told you to go do that? That's $7 worth of food you ain't giving your babies, plus the gas money. So what do you do when you go to the graveyard? You clean the grave off. You just put some flowers there. You say your prayers. But you bring your babies. Because the whole universe is already inside of you. Who don't believe? Give me somebody that don't believe, really don't. Come on now. Some of y'all half believers. Give me a half-ass. Come up here, believer. Come up here. Come here.
Come on
Come
up,
here.
Trey. Yeah.
Come here.
We got enough coverage to make sure you're seen.
Take off your shoes and socks. You gotta do it quick. I know
Do
you
it
got
quick,
dirty
Trey.
feet. That's
This
all
the
right.
kind of demonstration you
I
get
got
when
crusty
Baba's in
feet
the house.
too.
Baba held, the first time he came, he had a great big old giant brother trying to push him down, and he held him with 2 fingers.
Take off. You can leave that on. You
beautiful.
just take off the socks. Take off the socks. Yes, sir. Yes,
that's
sir.
right.
Come up here. Come up here.
Powerful.
Come here. Hurry up. Hurry. That's right. That's right. Okay. Okay. Give me some dirt.
Is that enough anymore?
When we think of soft, we think of gay. You know, you got yin and yang. You have all these elemental forces inside your body, but we all want to be hard. We ain't got nothing to be hard for. This ain't. Okay, just use enough energy just to hold your hand right here. Just enough. Relax this here. Touch your tongue to the gum line behind your upper 2 front teeth, real soft, like a butterfly on a cotton ball. Relax. Breathe slow. What do you feel?
Vibration.
Feel vibration? You shaking?
A little bit.
Well, why are you shaking?
I just feel like I feel like a tension or force from the outside, not in me.
Feel a tension or a force from the outside, but it's not in you. If it wasn't in you, you wouldn't be vibrating. What do you feel in your hand?
Something is like I'm holding air. So I know it's
You're holding air.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, scoot on. Yeah.
like it's like my palm is forming to something that is not there.
You know, your palm is forming to something that is not there.
It is there.
Ah,
You know what I mean about
he
it.
just woke up. He came up out of that slumber. Quick, he caught himself.
The it is there, should I say?
Okay, now, what's moving?
I don't feeling movement. I feel something in my shoulder.
But you don't feel no movement. What do you feel on your shoulder?
Tapping.
Okay, you feel tapping now?
Subtle.
You feel subtle.
Yeah.
Subtle tapping?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. What do you feel in your hand?
Just like I'm holding something.
What are you holding?
The
That's okay.
the force, the energy.
The Force. Like Star Wars?
Yeah.
All right, all right. You're right, you are. But you're not holding it. You know where it is?
Inside me.
It's always been there. It's always been there. Open your eyes. Still feel it, right?
Yeah. That's crazy.
Feel it in that hand some too?
Yeah. I felt it in this hand more or less than this one actually.
So you
'Cause
felt
I was
it.
judging it based upon this hand, even though this hand was up.
Yeah, but you felt it in the hand that I wasn't even projecting energy to.
Right. That's crazy.
What do you feel in your feet?
I feel weight, like grounded, kind of. Yeah.
So all I did was sprinkle a little dirt on your feet. Now you feel grounded.
It's real, y'all.
No, it is not real. It is you. It is you. It is all of us. There's nothing that is excluded from what we call it, because it's nameless. Of course, we use the German word God. Gott in Himmel, God in heaven. But there is no place there is not heaven. There is no place there is not creation. There is no place that is empty. Even if it looks empty, it's not empty. It's filled. An empty glass is full. You displace what's unseen when you pour water into it, because you can see the water. But what if you pour the Holy Ghost into it? What if I pour the Holy Ghost into you? Which is what I just did. Because you just made the covenant. You just made the covenant.
Baba, let me give you two more from online, and again, and we appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for the forbearance and being with a lot of wisdom being dropped today. Lakeisha said, my dad was recently diagnosed with neuropathy on top of other ailments. Can we contact you to schedule a consultation? Are you still doing work in this space?
Just have her call you.
Ring Infinity. Ring us up here. Send us an email, infinitynashville@gmail.com. Click on the website. We'll pass the information to Baba.
I'll treat him here, and the money will go to infinity.
Oh, man, brother,
The money will go to infinity.
bless you, man. Bless you.
No.
Bless you. Bless you.
Anybody that wants treatment, I treat 80% of what you go to a medical doctor for. 80%. I treat you here, money stays in the house. How you gonna take from something that's holy? How am I gonna break the covenant I'm asking you to pick up and walk with?
All right, so Keisha, you got that. Lakeisha, send that in. We're in here, man. This is a place of healing, and we're excited about it. We have also one other question that I think, let me make sure I didn't miss it on the scroll, because I'm only looking at YouTube. So Tony, is there anything that's coming up on the feed that I can't see that's a question? Okay, good. Well, we'll get a ton of comments. Will you say, Tom?
There's one more question.
Okay, what is it? You may have to read it for me on mic, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for that.
Okay. Says, I had an aunt, actually it's from, I'm sorry, Kay Sharp. His question is, I had an ancestor visit me through vision. Unfortunately, I asked her to go away. I was unsure of the intention. How can I ask her to come back?
Oh, that's practical.
The best place to do that is here with obafemi, and wear some white clothes, wash your body before you come, and bring an offering both to infinity and an offering for your ancestors. And he will guide you to that.
You know, I'll add something to that, Bob, if you don't mind. Something Chinua Achebe said in Things Fall Apart, when he talked about Europeans coming there and bringing their gods. And he said we laughed at first and said, oh, this is fun. You know, we laughed at that. But eventually, slowly, everyone got converted. And now they're locked out of their own system of spirituality. We're outsiders now. A lot of times we think that we've been taught that cultural norms that are ancient are weird or strange. And so we run from them. We think they're, you know, demonic, or we think that they're outside the scope of reality and they're not good. And that is exactly what's killing us and poisoning us. It's just like Dr. Clark said, that when you came, people arrived in Africa, they had a Bible, we had the land. When they left, they had the land, we had the Bible. So we're seeing this transformative energy work when people say, listen, I'm going to go with what I am feeling. So when the ancestor came to you, the ancestor came to you because you were already an open portal. So the ancestor is not necessarily left. It's just that when we are doing spiritual work, what we're doing is giving you symbols and totems so that you can unlock that which is within you. That's what divination really is. And we talked about this a while back. Divination is not the actual contact encounter with spirit. You actually have that within you. But many of us have been taught that we are not powerful, that the energy is not emanating from us. So we do this, a priest will come with the distraction to say, here's what divination said. Here's what the tea leaves said. Here's what the Holy Spirit told me in a prophecy. This was already in you. So what happens is eventually once you begin to practice that and get confirmation and affirmation, you reach a point where you need divination less and you trust that energy. And that's when people and places and things will show up in your life. Our ancestors often talk to us, not necessarily in the direct voice, but they send somebody to you at the right time to say the right thing that affirms something. Sweet Honey in the Rock, their song Breaths, listen more often to things than to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters. That concept of looking forward, looking up, that's why breaking the momentum is important. We talked about reset last week. Breaking the momentum is important. When things are swirling, take your shoes off, go outside, look in the sky. You will be surprised what comes to you in those moments when you tune out all of the rest of the programming. And that's what it is. The person who is in charge of what comes through this device, the person who is in charge of what comes through your radio, the person who is in charge of what comes through your social media feed, they all share the same title, program director. So when you become your own program director, you get to choose what you allow into your consciousness. And it's a beautiful thing. And there are so many gifts in this place alone. And I enjoy those moments when people come and they say, here's what I received. Here's who came to me, who was sitting at my bed when I woke up. Here's who was in the car next to me. And I said, I had to do a double take. And they said, I'd never been able to talk about that to people because they were going to brand it as demonic. When my daughter or my grandchild said something back to me and something came out of my mouth and it was my mama's voice. And I couldn't believe, that's the ancestors. That's that connection. And the more you stop trying to wonder if it's weird or not and wear it as a gift, as a superpower, the more those doors begin to open up for you. And the more that connection through spiritual practice. Manifestation is just a name. But notice, Tai Chi, as this brother would probably be considered a master. Yoga, meditation, everybody never says master. They say it's a practice. It is my practice. That is what we're involved in. And that's what I encourage us to leave with, to continually practice every single day, moment to moment. I'm going to add something for you, brother, I'm going to give you a good wrap-up softball. Whether it's programming, whether it's substances, whether it's what I call at Infinity, the nouns, the people, places, things, and ideas, there's a point where we can, through unconscious practice, find ourselves in a space of addiction. When we're dealing with addiction, when do we know and recognize that something is not working for us? When do we reach the point where we say, enough is enough?
Most of us don't reach that point. They say that when an alcoholic says he hits bottom, what the alcoholic doesn't realize is that every bottom has a trap door. And you just keep falling and keep falling and keep falling until you die. And so that I'm a recovering addict, alcoholic, and the only reason that I'm alive is because I listened to an old 87-year-old white woman. First person to help me out when I was addicted, living in the Cass corridor in Detroit, which is the roughest, most undesirable place to be in the world, was a schizophrenic Ashkenazi Jew who fed me and my wife and my daughter. Gave us money to sleep in a clean flop house and told me every single day that I was going to make it out of here. And his name was Solomon. And he gave me the faith. Don't hate people. And when Solomon died, he was schizophrenic, so summer, winter, fall, he wore the same full-length, heavy wool coat. Coat probably cost $6,000, $7,000, you know, and a hat. And he never took it off. But when he died, and they found his body with the coat on, they found over $200,000 in security sewn into the lining. He was an angel. He was using that money to reclaim souls. And he was a Jew, an Ashkenazi. So when I had 5 years clean, I went to a meeting. I was just, full of myself. I was woo, I was full of me. And I walked in, the place was packed. It was in Memphis, and auditorium type seating, the speakers down here, and they're talking and I'm listening, and I'm sitting next to this old white woman. Her hair so thin you could see her scalp, but her hair wasn't long. I was like, oh, I gotta sit next to her. She's just knitting and she's looking at me smiling. I'm like, she's smiling at me for I'm mad as hell, What the hell is going on? And it was just, she was healing me and I didn't know it. She was feeding me. She was feeding me. The thing that was killing me. Because you can be clean, but not have spirituality, and you're just a dry drunk. So we always close meetings with, if anybody has a burning desire to share, this is the time now. I shot my hand up in the air, and I'm looking at her like, cuss this old woman out, And I said, I'm just hurting. I can't get rid of the hurt and the pain. I don't know what to do. And I'm just begging for somebody to help me. And I looked at her, and she put her knitting needles down and raised her hand. I said, oh, shit. And she said, Omar, your problem is you're having sex. And she didn't say sex. She used the F word. She's 87. You're having sex with a gorilla. You might be through with it, but it ain't through with you.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow.
And I busted into tears, and I went back to that same meeting for the next 7 years until she died. She saved my life. I was through, but my disease wasn't through. So when we want to pick the covenant back up, Everything's gonna jump up. Oh, I ain't got time for that. I gotta go do this. I gotta go get my second job. I gotta go do this with my kids. Damn, my kid stole $2 out of my purse. I gotta beat his ass. I ain't got time to deal with the covenant today. You know, but until you pick the covenant back up, then you'll be through with it. But until you live in the covenant, it ain't through with you.
Well, Baba, I want to give you just a last word to have before we wrap it up today. But I want to thank you again for coming into the space. And thank you everybody that's here in the space, because we're actually doing it in those moments where you feel like, hey, I'm not going to show up, or I've got something else to do, or I'll catch it later. These are the moments that remind us of how important it is to fellowship and to come together and to build together. So, Baba, I'll give it to you. What last words of wisdom would you have? What charge would you have for anyone who is on their own spiritual journey right now, young and old?
I just say study the covenant, feed the hungry. If you got $10 in your pocket, you got your bills paid, buy $5 worth of bologna and bread and feed the homeless on the street. And you still got $5 left. You know, find a way to give something that you got to somebody who don't mean nothing to you, and it won't give you any notoriety. You won't get any newspaper. You won't get any TV. Shun all that stuff. They sent the master to Kemet to be about his father's business. Why you think you here? You're here to be about his business. Your mother's business. Your father's business. I'm only saying what he would say to you. It's just a different way of saying it. I'm not as articulate. I ain't as good looking.
Oh, man. You're my role model, brother. I'm trying to be, I'm still striving.
And the fruit is in his hands now. I had the fruit, I had the kids. We proved that if we educate our own children in the covenant and in our own way, that they will walk in that path. But if you're not willing, my wife, and I will say this because she's not here, my wife allowed me, we had saved $80,000 toward our retirement. She allowed me to take that $80,000 and spend it on children.
Yeah.
I'm working now to build our retirement. Would I do it again?
Come on, man.
So when we close, I'm gonna have all of us come into a circle. We're gonna share something. You won't understand until you share it, but then you'll understand. You'll be different. But after you close it.
All right. All right. So we're going to close ceremony. And those of you who are in person, get a chance to get into this circle. Ain't that good? Yeah. Ain't that good? All people at home who are like, I was going to go today, but I didn't. It's okay. Right. You get back on a regular Sunday. So let us, as we begin to end the ritual today for Infinity Fellowship, let us rise and give a standing ovation to our guest, Baba Umaru Jutte. Always.
We just dirt, y'all.
We're going to have a seat. As we're standing, y'all, we want to recognize and remember that we have come through an amazing journey today on a number of levels. We have been fed spiritual food to overflowing. Every time I'm in this brother's presence, I tell you, man, it's just a gift. I'm glad and so grateful that he was able to come and to share in the space today. As we move from this place, we want to seal everything that we have learned in our hearts and in our minds and in our bodies, So I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. If you're near somebody that you're comfortable holding their hand, or put the hand on the shoulder. Take a deep breath. And all eyes are closed, all heads are bowed, and our hearts are open. Divine Spirit, Divine Source, Mother, Father, God, we give thanks for the energy that has been in this place today. We give thanks for the love that has been shared. We thank you for the information we received that has now become knowledge, and we speak that we will move forth in wisdom, continual spiritual practice, the actions that we need to take to manifest the good in this world. We recognize that we are gifted by those who have come before, and we stand proudly on the shoulders of the ancestors. We feel their energy entering in from the bottom of our feet to the crown of our head. We are indeed a shining star, no matter where we are, shining bright to see all of this greatness that lives inside. And so we have learned today, we have fed today, we have shared today. I pronounce that we go forth in this world today, committed to be a difference maker in this world, committed to be the change, committed to operate from a space of love and from the superpower of knowing that we can do all things except fail. This is the covenant. This is the commitment. This is the blessing. To those who are part of this fellowship, it is growing right now with those who are willing to put their hands together to be the good that we want to see in the world. Bless this journey going forward now in this 8th year. Bless us to continue to grow and expand in meaningful ways with people who are ready to step into the greatness that they were born from. We give thanks in this moment, going forth henceforth, now and forever. We seal it in together. Amen. Amen. Hotep. Shalom. Namaste. Ashe. All right. We're going to close out with our song. We can sing as the song comes on, as we prepare to leave this place into the world that awaits our light, afterwards which we're going to get into a circle. And we're going to remind you as we sway gently from side to side, that's feeling that energy. And as we feel this energy, we know that we connect one to another, that we are indeed a family, that we were born to remember the past so that we can chart the present and put a down payment on the future. And don't be discouraged. Don't be blinded. Don't be deceived. The future is bright because we're still here. As long as we're still here, we are in this to win it. We don't die, we multiply. And so it is. Let us sing. We'll put the words up for everyone so that we can sing together at home and in the space. If today's a brighter day and we are on our way, then we can begin to heal ourselves again. Oh, we remember yesterday, and yet today's the day. God's reminding me to look at you and see family. If today's a brighter day and we are on our way, then we can begin to heal ourselves again. Oh, we remember yesterday, and yet today's the day. God's reminding me to look at you and see family. Oh yeah, that part right there. God's reminding me. God's reminding me to look at you and see family. God's reminding me, God's reminding me to look at you and see family. We speak that the love of God, the power of the ancestors and the cosmos rest, rule, rock, and abide with us all, henceforth, now and forevermore. Let us sing together. Amen, Amen, Hotep Shalom, Namaste, Ashe. We love y'all. It's time to roll off the online and go into the in-person circle. We love you. When we reset, we're going to set these chairs up and bring in the food and have a good time. Bless you, and we'll see you soon. Ashe.